The football talk show that on opinions.
Straight shooting LJA.
Hi, I'm John Sitton.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hello, I'm Rob Perez.
The G-Man.
Samira Sawney, Motivate Sports and Fitness.
Christian Carambeu.
Matt Hodgson, Director of the 4-Year Plan.
We the people, for the people. Jazzy Fizzle.
Your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Each and every Monday night of your lives.
At youtube.com/pitch talk.
For podcast links and information, check out our official website www.pitch-talk.com.
Hello, I'm Rob Perez.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Christian Carambeu.
Matt Hodgson, Director of the 4-Year Plan.
Dave McLaughlin.
I'm Rob Lusher.
Andy Copeland from the Glemnet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
Former chairman of Ibis FC.
Chairman of Alexandra Park FC.
And you're listening to
Pitch Talk.
The only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
Because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Make sure you join the revolution, the football revolution.
Hi, I'm John Sitton here with Gavin, Liam Angell on Pitch Talk.
The football talk show that holds back nothing on opinions.
Hello, I'm Rob Perez. Christian Carambeu.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Matt Hodgson, Director of the 4-Year Plan.
Samira Sawney, co-founder and co-director of Motivate Sports and Fitness.
And you're listening to Pitch Talk.
The only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk.
You never know. You won't see it coming, but I promise you know. Well, it's Pitch Talk. And you know what? It is a big show. But we gotta kind of switch this up, right? Because you know what happened this past weekend. So we gotta switch it up. It's Pitch Talk. It's Pitch Talk, and it's Monday. It's Pitch Talk live right now on YouTube Live. It's Pitch Talk live on a Monday. It's Pitch Talk, and we're live. How live? This live. We are live. We are alive. We are alive. We are talking football for the next 3 hours. We are alive. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, straight shooting LJ, the G-Man and Jazzy Fizzle proudly bring to you the football talk show that pulls no punches and holds back nothing on opinions, because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is...
The pitch is what?
That's where we sleep. What's wrong with this guy? First, you go and assault my ears. Yeah, my ears feel like they've been accosted.
Costed? Oh, wait, okay.
No, accosted, not Diego accosted.
Oh, God.
Yeah, no, they feel accosted. I honestly feel like I might have to go Specsavers. Yes, that you heard me correctly. I said Specsavers to go and have a hearing test, right?
You're going to go to Specsavers for your ears. All I can say is
-5 stars
for that one.
If you don't know, they actually do hearing aids. Just saying.
Okay.
They do.
Well,
legitimately, I'm not even making it up.
The old Whistler 2000. But the people right now are hearing your Monday Night Footballing Fix. Facebook.com/Pitch Talk. Become a fan, become a friend, become a member of the group. Join the footballing revolution. We're working so hard to create. MySpace.com/Pitch Talk. PitchTalk.blogspot.com is where you can find all of the blogs, including blogs from yours truly, Straight Shooting LJ, the G-Man, Jazzy Fizzle, Dave Meier, aka at Meier C, Russ Vernon, Mike Harniman, many more as well. Many blogs. Also, www.pitch-talk.com is the official website. We are live right now also on mixler.com/pitch-talk. YouTube.com/pitch-talk is where you can find all of our videos and is where we're live right now as well. And we'll eventually be on the podcast as well. iTunes, Mixcloud, Podomatic, and Spreaker as well. So you know what? We have got a lot of places where you can find us and find what we do. At Pitch Talk on Twitter as well. And Pitch Talk 1 on Skype as well. So it's one of them ones. We got bases covered. We got Google Plus covered as well. Pitch Talk Live on Google Plus. So come find us, baby. Find us. The FA Cup draw has been made tonight, and it's very interesting. We're going to get into that in results and analysis, which is, as you know, the first segment of the show. Big shouts to the G-Man, who couldn't be here with us tonight. Also, a big shout out to all of the singletons, all of the couples as well over the Valentine's Day weekend, which is why we had to start the show the way we did, baby. Because it's all about the baby ladies. The ladies
it's all about the what?
The ladies who are your babies. That's what I mean by the baby lady. Was that Questlove from the Roots at Preston North End? Anyway, sorry.
Possibly.
So there was Preston.
He's international, yo.
No, definitely internationally known. But as well, there was 23 and 3/4 minutes gone. Preston North End 0, Manchester United 0. For a right to face Arsenal in the 6th round, and we're gonna get more onto that as well. But you know what? It is one of them ones, baby. One of them ones. Jazzy Fizzle, how was your weekend? How's your weekend been? Did you get it seasoned up right?
Well, I mean, there was a few shades of grey in it, but outside of that, I have to say, good weekend. You know, so glad to be here, so glad to be watching Manchester United take on Preston in the Northwest Derby. I want to echo your sentiments. Send shout outs to absolutely everybody. Shout out to my family, shout out to my familia, shout out to my friends, shout out to my enemies, shout out to my frenemies, shout out to ex-wife, shout out to my next wife, shout out to my future kids. Love each and every one of you.
I told him,
each and every one of you. And you know what? It's just great being here on your Monday Night Football and Fix. And feeling the magic of the FA Cup. And yes, it is Questlove. No, it's not.
Oh my word, it is one of those, man. It's been a lot. It's been a mad one, absolute mad one, and we're gonna get even crazier as the night goes on, because we've got a lot to talk about. So it is one of them ones, man. From
let's get it.
From £1 billion TV deals and much more, we got a hell of a lot to talk about. So let's start to bust the move. Don't just stand there, bust the move. Gotta love it. Big shout out to Kieran Riley, Mike Harniman, Russ Vernon, Tom Wood, and Dave Meier, aka at Meier C, in the Skype chat right now. And also a big shout out to Ian Kerr of Thin White Line magazine at Tweet White Line on Twitter. Our copy of Thin White Line magazine issue 1 came in the post today, so it's tremendous. Right here at PT Towers. It's fantastic. It's a great read. Remember, we will have Ian Kerr's A-League roundup later on in the show. So, without further ado, what it do? I don't know what it do. What it do is the first segment of the show, which is... results and analysis. It's results and analyses. It's results and those analyses. It's all about the results. Ooh, as Preston trying to press Man United. That was almost sounded like a scripted ad-lib there. But it is one of them ones where we are going to start Tuesday, 10th February 2015 in the Barclays Premier League we're going to start with a result that would have brought a smile to the G-man's face. Arsenal 2, Leicester City 1. Laurent Koscielny opening and scoring on 27 minutes, with Theo Walcott scoring on 41 minutes. Kramaric, after a bit of sloppy defending, scored on 61 minutes, but Arsenal ended up holding out for the win. Hull City 2, Aston Villa 0. Nikita Jelavic on 22 minutes opening the scoring, and Ndoye scoring on 74 minutes. Well, that was, man. Sunderland 0, QPR 2. Leroy Fair with a towering header scoring on 17 minutes, and Bobby Zamora in first half stoppage time with a legit goal of the week contender. Will it be goal of the week from Straight Shooting LJ, yours truly, did Jezzy Fizzle or anyone else? Hey, stuff of the week is later on in the show, but with the live bird upon my chest, this result of course was the one that I loved the best, or at least one of them this week, because Liverpool 3, Tottenham 2. Lazar Markovic opening the scoring on 15 minutes. And Harry Kane, of course, equalised on 20. But Steven Gerrard scored a penalty on 53 minutes. Moussa Dembele, who had actually performed pretty well, scoring on 61 minutes. Got himself booked a couple minutes later. But Mario Balotelli, as a sub, came on and scored the winner. Couldn't have written that better. No one was. You couldn't have written that one better, with Balotelli getting the winner on 83 minutes. The much maligned Mario Balotelli, it must be said. The much maligned, the much criticised, the much derided, the much chided. The women's pet, the men's regret, the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, Tower Power. Yeah. Them old rhymes from Jim Cornette there. It's one that was every mother's nightmare and every schoolgirl's dream. But a lot was made of the Balotelli celebration, the fact that he didn't smile immediately. But it's like, well, leave him alone. It's one of them ones. You criticise someone if they celebrate too much. You criticise someone if they don't celebrate. You criticise someone if they do an average celebration. This is the thing that annoys me about parasitic media. It's the fact that Saido Berahino wasn't celebrating when he was scoring his 4 goals against Gateshead, and he gets criticised for it. So Balotelli doesn't celebrate, decides to save his celebration for Instagram, and everyone criticizes him for it. It's like, no, it's just it's just utterly pointless. You ain't got nothing better to do. You ain't got nothing better to do than nitpick. But at least he scored. That's the important thing. You know what the fact is? Tottenham were a bit unlucky not to get a penalty when Mignolet brought down Harry Kane, but it was one of them ones where it was like it would have been a soft penalty. But the fact of the matter is, it was one of them where it was a very, very entertaining game to watch, and I'm just happy that we came out on top. I thought we would, to be perfectly frank. I said to a few people, I still think we've got Tottenham's number, as we have done on a general basis at Anfield, so all good. So it's one of them ones. We've beaten them twice this season, which is always good. Anyway, anyone want to jump in on the Tuesday 15th results from the Premier League? Mike Harniman, I have that.
Yeah, it's about the Arsenal one really against Leicester and the Liverpool Spurs as well. First of all, I just want to say that the performance by Arsenal was very lacklustre, a bit poor really. The goals were taken well, but to let Leicester back into it how we did, and to let them kind of pressurise us that much in the second half was a bit worrying in patches really.
But you got through it though, so it was one of them ones. That's always the important thing, that you actually get through it. So,
oh yeah, and then your result obviously against Spurs made it a hell of a lot sweeter. So seeing all them going back into hiding again, probably won't see them again for a couple of seasons. So to all of you Spurs fans, just hope you enjoyed your 2 days.
Nah, I hear that. It's one of them ones. I mean, Tottenham looked good in this match. That's not. I'm not gonna take anything away from them, because it wouldn't be fair to. They did look good, but they just weren't good enough. And especially that first goal with the way Lloris tried to look at the ground and blame the ground. It's like, bro, no, you should have saved that. Really, that Markovic goal. But it was one of them. Was Daniel Sturridge looked sharp. He was actually very unlucky not to score with that little back heel that he tried. It was improvisation, and it was like, oh. if only that had gone in. But Jordan Ibe, once again, looking very, very lively. So, good signs. I'm very much liking it. I think we're like a point behind it now. So, it's very much bunching up for that 4th spot. And you got the Preston North End fans. It's not questionable. But look at this. I love that. That's what you gotta love about football. But on a couple of quick side notes, let's see, where were we gonna go? Bloody hell, Leeds on a bit of a winning run. Reading 0, Leeds 2. Luke Murphy and Sam Byron getting the goals. First on 63 minutes and the second on 90 minutes. Huddersfield, bloody hell, Huddersfield 1, Wolves 4. Nua Dicko opening, scoring on 12 minutes. Connor Cody scoring an own goal on 47 minutes. Benik Afobe scoring on 61 minutes. Vaughan scoring on 63 minutes for Huddersfield, and Nua Dicko popping up again on 91 minutes in second half stoppage time. And Ibe will not be replacing Sterling because Sterling won't be going in the summer. They will be working together. I just wanted to get that out there. But Bournemouth 2, Derby County 2 in the Sky Bet Championship as well. Ritchie scoring on 12 minutes. Thomas Ince equalising on 30 minutes. Wilson scoring on 44 minutes. And Darren Bent scoring on 68 minutes. Quite a tasty affair. Towards the top of the championship. Kieran Riley, Huddersfield Wolves. And then if you want Russ Vernon to be jumping in on Reading v Leeds.
Well, I must say, after losing on Saturday, or last Saturday, I must say this was a fantastic game after watching the results, and it's the best starting 11 that I think Kenny Jackett's done for us this season, with Afobe, Sacco and Dicko all up front at the same time. That is what got us the win. Apart from obviously their own goal from Huddersfield, that is what got us the win. That is the partnership that we need to get ourselves into the playoffs, hopefully to get ourselves back up to the Premier League next season. Fantastic match.
What partnership is that again?
Afobe, Dicko and Sacco.
Sorry, I just couldn't help. As soon as I heard Dicko and Sacco, it just sounded wrong. But thank you for repeating that for me and indulging me. What?
Really?
What?
Why you need Jesus?
What? The only thing more wrong is if it would have been, say, Michael Ball and Diafra Sacco. It would, because as a combination that would end up as Ball Sacco, which would be
why? Why? I mean, you could have gone with the triumvirate.
There's so many Saccos around. Yeah, Sacco, it was
never mind.
Ball and Sacco, man, it works. It's like ball and chain. It works. Don't ask where these come from. I don't know where they come from either. Russ Vernon, you want to jump in on Reading Leeds?
Yes, I do. I actually saw I actually seen the full match on TV channel, and I want to say the performance from the lads in the way Neil Redfern set us up. It was a good performance, fantastic goal from Will Murphy to put us in front on 60 minutes, and then good work again from Will Murphy to pick out Steve Morrison. He would have been unlucky for the second goal, which had a shot which was saved by Adam Federici. Come back to Steve Morrison, and he looked up and saw Sam Byron waiting in the back post, picked him out, and he just ended up. I think, saying if that was Mirko Antonucci, who gets £8,000 a week per goal he scores, extra to where he already gets at the club, he would have probably tried and scored himself. But for Morrison, people have been slagging him off because he's not been getting goals in his games he's played this season. But the performances he's doing very well, and he gratefully time ball back across to pick out Sam Byron to head home, and that's Byron's third goal this season now, after he got one against Huddersfield early on after good work again by Morrison and linking up with Murphy again. So well, team playing as a team, and Saul Bamber, since he's come in, he's done brilliantly in the back. Got the captaincy with Cooper being out through illness at the moment and injury, and he's doing very well at the back. And he's becoming a legend. Sir Fox, what a go chat for him. Saul Bamber.
Dave Meir, would you like to jump in on this as well, on Reading Leeds?
Yeah, if you go back earlier in the season, these are the type of games Leeds were losing. They were losing heavily in games away on a Tuesday night. That was a superb result last week for them. absolutely superb. And it's turned around an opinion that I had that I don't think Neil Redfern was the man for the job there, to be honest with you. He got in there with a big, kind of support from the supporters when he was caretaker manager. And the easiest thing in the world to do is be a caretaker manager, because if you don't get the results right, you're going out the door anyway. If you get the results right, you have a chance of getting the job.
Yeah.
But when you become a permanent manager, it's a huge difference. But I also think the fact that Mr. Celino has gone missing and maybe he's back sitting on his yacht and not interfering in team affairs, which he obviously was, because you could see the record before Celino was there, and just look at the record now after he has moved on.
You know what? That's actually a very, very good shout in regards to the Celino problem that seems to have been sorted. But then the fact that he can come back, I think it's in like March, April. If he does come back, I think he's going to unsettle things again. So it's like we've discussed on our shows before. It's probably better that he doesn't come back, and because at the end of the day, he's just going to do nothing but destabilise and muck around again. Yeah, well, I've always been of the opinion that if a chairman steps foot inside the dressing room, the manager's either got to be strong enough to say, out you go, or I go out and leave. And I don't think the likes of Redfern will be strong enough to walk away from the club to a certain degree on that line, That's a very interesting point. I quite like that. So we're gonna, we might end up having to bring that up. We might end up having to bring that up again if Celino returns, but we'll see. We shall see. Couple of other results actually. Bolton 3, Fulham 1. Hutchinson opening scoring on 21 minutes. Good Johnson scoring on 4 minutes, Janko scoring on 89 minutes, and Adam Lafondre scoring on 89 minutes. Ipswich 2, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Lee opening scoring on 20 minutes for Sheffield Wednesday. Murphy scoring on 52, and Luke Chambers scoring on 67 minutes. Charlton 2, Norwich 3. Housen opened the scoring on 14 minutes, and Graben scored on 43 minutes, but Watts scored on 61 minutes. Vetakele scored on 68 minutes, and Cameron Jerome scored on 83 minutes. Cardiff 0, Brighton 0, Brentford 1, Watford 2. Bidwell was sent off after 38 minutes. Gray scored on 53, but Igalo scored on 68, and Igalo scored again on 91 minutes. Blackpool 1, Middlesbrough 2, still with the Sky Bet Championship. Jonathan Woodgate opening the scoring on 81 minutes. Gibson scoring an own goal on 85, and Garcia Martinez winning it for Middlesbrough on 88 minutes. Blackburn 2, Rotherham 1. Conway scoring on 41 minutes. Matt Derbyshire equalising on 72 minutes, and Jordan Rhodes scoring on 86 minutes to give Blackburn the win. And Birmingham 0, Millwall 1. Dunn getting the only goal of the game on 51 minutes. Shifting on to Wednesday 11th of February in the Barclays Premier League. Chelsea 1, Everton 0, a match tinged with controversy because Gareth Barry was sent off for a second bookable on 88 minutes. Slightly harsh, but one of them was. But Willian scored the winner on 89 minutes. Now you know what? Yeah, tinged with controversy for the pure fact that it appeared that Ivanovic was trying to chomp on an Everton player's shoulder, and the memes were going around saying, "Yep, was it?"
What he's doing to Suarez.
Well, not even that he was doing the Suarez. The meme was something like, was it 20? I think it was 2013. You saw a picture of Ivanovic being bitten by Suarez, and in 2015, you see the picture of Ivanovic appearing to bite one of the Everton players.
Oh, so he's infected now, yeah?
Exactly. You knew where I was going with that. That's exactly where the meme went. It's like, you've been infected by Suarez, and Suarez dressed as a vampire. It's so silly. But yeah, I said Ivanovic should get banned.
I was gonna go with a zombie personally.
Well, he did look like Count Chocula a little bit. So well, it's better than looking. It's better than looking like. It's better than looking like Count Duckula. But anyway, the fact of the matter is,
Count Duckula's my dude, man.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm not gonna go into that. I could, but I'm not going to ruin childhood memories for anyone. But the fact of the matter is, yeah, Ivanovic should in theory have the book thrown at him, but I don't think any action is actually going to be taken, which would be disappointing because it's almost like one rule for one rule for another, and Mourinho can't complain about conspiracy if Ivanovic gets away with it. But Dave Mayer, did you want to come in? On the Ivanovic issue from that Chelsea?
Yeah, in actual fact, guys, there's a blog gone over to you today. It's actually all about that issue. In the sense of when the incident happened, Barry, you know, he didn't maliciously tackle. I think it was Willian. He stuck his leg out. William went over him. He was already on a yellow card, so he had to go.
Yeah.
But the reaction of the Chelsea players was absolutely disgusting. They all surrounded the referee, and in around the back, you see Ivanovic grabbing the Irish lad McCarthy.
Yeah, it looked weird.
Once his hands went to his throat, forget about anything about head or attention, you know, biting or anything like that. Once his hands went on his throat, he was on a thin line. He should have been sent off there and then. I was disappointed that the assistant referees, who would have been looking at it at a better angle than the referee, didn't pick it up. And then what happened afterwards with it going to the tribunal, or the three blind mice, as I called them, who were actually sat and had a look at it and said no, there was nothing to answer. I thought that was a joke.
It's one of them ones. I mean, you looking at what we've seen in the past. Once again, it's a case of the powers that be need to punish uniformly and in a draconian fashion, but they're not doing that. And this is the thing. It's this lack of consistency that frustrates a lot of fans.
If I could just make a further point on that, and I know you haven't got the blog up, but in the actual blog I've mentioned, this is an issue with Chelsea's attitude of, oh, the whole world is against us as well. Yeah. And when these three boys went to sit down and had a look at this, look, I spoke to referees here in this country the day after, and every one of them, and some of these guys are top FIFA referees, said, yeah, he will be getting a retrospective ban. And they were surprised. But the other thing that I was thinking was, these guys now are sitting on panels, are buying into this whole attitude that the special one as such has, that the whole world is against us. The last time these three boys sat down and they suspended a player was actually Costa. So they'll be doing it again. Now I'm wondering, did they just bottle it and say, no, we've had enough, let's just bite the dust on this one.
I think it's one of them ones where they probably did bottle it, because at the end of the day, I mean, obviously with Mourinho moaning, it looks like bad press, but Mourinho likes to moan about everything anyway. Oh, there's a conspiracy. It was about that, like I said last week, it was about this time last year that he came out with exactly the same thing. There's a conspiracy against us. It's like he's gonna wheel that out every year. It's
just nonsensical now at this stage. It really is. It's just become boring, and the unfortunate part about all this is, and this is what stomachs me, as we call them, the so-called press, they buy into this because he gives them stories. He makes their work easy for them Monday to Friday. He gives them the ammunition so they can put in their papers. And this is what he's at, and that's why they love him. Yeah. If you got a press man to come out and really have a go at him and call him what he is, it might be a different kettle of fish.
Well, it's one of them. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Jonathan Pearce at all. In fact, he annoys me quite a bit as a commentator on a personal note. But the fact is, like, when he asked Mourinho, oh yeah, so if your players did anything wrong, would you punish them? No, I'll see you tomorrow. And it's like I'm looking at that thinking, what the hell is the matter with you? You are a card carrying prat. I think Mourinho should get charged for doing that, because that.
So do I. I totally agree with you. I think anytime this guy now steps out of line, I think he should be hammered. I think he should be hammered financially, and actual fact, I think he should be given a few weeks in the stand, and that would hurt him more, because when he's on the sideline, he's a nightmare. I can only imagine what he's like with the fourth official on the sideline. I'd say he's an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it. You can see it. There's a lot of times where he's just badgering people, and it's like, let someone do their job without being badgered. It's like, bugger off.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you.
It's like, bugger off. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Shut your face. Move on. Decision's been made. Move.
Totally agree with you. In actual fact, before we leave that game, guys, in fairness to Chelsea, the Peter Cech save from Lukaku, that could have been a possibly championship winning save, because they would have gone 1 down at that stage, and that was late in the game as well.
I mean,
that was a superb save.
Yeah, I mean, Cech was superb generally. I mean,
absolutely. Courtois seemed to have a little wobble. He had a wobble against Villa, and he brought in Cech, and Cech stepped up to the plate, and he was absolutely superb in that game.
But see, that's the thing though. If you want to win championships, you've got to have quality players in every position, and not just one. You've got to have two, maybe even three.
And do you know what I found as well, looking at the match, when they brought in the guy Zuma to replace Gary Cahill? Now, I think Cahill was maybe getting a lot of blame for the Bradford game, but I thought this guy Zuma was absolutely splendid. He really impressed me. And I was reading there yesterday that Didier Deschamps, I think it's the French manager, has said that he reckons this guy could be the next French captain.
Yeah.
And I've also heard rumours that there's a possibility Gary Cahill could be out of there in the summer.
I mean, I wouldn't put too much stock into the rumours of Gary Cahill leaving because John Terry's aging, and I'd see Cahill as kind of the next evolution of a John Terry on the pitch, in terms of being the future of that club to an extent. But it's, I mean, the Kurt Zuma one is an interesting one. I mean, do they want to really put that kind of pressure on him and keep throwing him into big games early? I mean, all right, it gives him the experience, but at the same time, it's like you don't really want to burn him out too quickly and like put him in the firing line before he's ready.
Bring him in gently and give him a few games and see what he can get under his belt. That's what you got to do.
Exactly.
There's one other thing that I noticed on the match itself, and again, it's a Chelsea trait. They do it all the time. On the issue when Barry was being sent off, like it was an easy yellow card for the referee. It was one of those where it was, look, he was going to yellow card him. He didn't need players surrounding him.
Yeah.
Azpilicueta ran 40 yards. If you look at it again, if you can see it on screen, he comes from the top of the TV all the way down. He's ran a good 40 yards to get into the referee. Now, there's only one place that's coming from, and it's coming from the so-called what's name on the line.
Yeah, of course, the man who calls himself the special one, but I call him the arrogant one.
When we were refereeing, when we were doing it in the day when we did it, if anybody came running at you, if they came from a long distance into an issue where you were dealing with stuff there, and a guy came all of a sudden came from nowhere and he's come 30 yards to run at you, you actually met him with a yellow card. You were actually standing waiting on him because he's come looking for it.
Yeah, good. Yeah, he's getting involved in a situation they've got nothing to do with.
And the more the guys in the Premier League would actually deal with this, it will cut it out fairly fast because you're under this then of a late tackle or a silly tackle later on getting sent off.
Exactly. I mean, I would say that same kind of thing needs to happen with diving as well. I mean, you look at we've had Suarez in the past. We had Dwight Gale on Saturday, which I'll get into. It's one of them was got Henderson booked, and he didn't even touch him. And he tried to do it a good few times in that match as well. And it's like, bro, I thought you were hurt. Get back down if you're hurt. Yeah. And well, it's annoying, but not enough referees and not enough linesmen are actually punishing.
Well, my opinion on the diving was, I've said it a couple of years when Ashley Young started to do it, and it was really becoming ridiculous. I came up with an idea, and it was mooted around here for a while. In actual fact, that if the referee had thought he dived, basically it was a red card. And Ray Houghton was involved in this conversation. I had a conversation on radio with Ray Houghton, and Ray Houghton backed me up on this in the sense of, I said, look, Ray, if it's a red card, if he dives, it's a red card. It'll sort it out in a week. And Ray Houghton said, well, what is the situation if as a referee, you deem it to be a red card decision, in other words, you think he's dived, and you're proven wrong? Well, they say, on Monday morning then, the dubious goals panel or the dubious dive panel steps in, they have a look and say, no, referee got it wrong. He doesn't get a suspension.
Yeah.
But it will cut out diving in a week.
Do you know what? We're actually gonna hit that issue in detail on a summer special feature. We've already got some of this planned because there's no European Championship football or World Cup football. We've got a lot of summer special features planned, and yeah, we're gonna go into that a lot more. We are definitely gonna hit that. We're gonna hit that one strong. Speaking of hitting it strong, Man United 3, Burnley 1 is the next result. Chris Smalling opened the scoring on 6 minutes. Danny Ings scored on 12 minutes. Chris Smalling scored again in first half stoppage time. And Robin Van Persie scored a penalty on 82 minutes to really give United a bit of breathing space in that game. But this game, not as easy as it could have been. Burnley, oh my God, the chances they squandered. Jesse Fizzle, you want to go into this before we power through some of the other results?
Oh, I'll just speak on it quickly. I mean, I was asked what I thought the full-time score was when it was 1-1, and I said, it'd probably be 3-1. And I probably should have put money where my mouth was, and I didn't end up doing that, so I didn't end up, coming out with a nice, tidy sum. But, my thing is this. I say that you can measure a player's level of skill by,
Oh, I think Jesse's just having some connection problems for a sec. We'll come back to him in just a second. But yeah, I said United looked anything but imperious. And by the way, they're in action right now against Preston North End. It's half-time. Preston 0, Preston North End 0, Manchester United 0. Preston have had their chances. They have had their chances. But in terms of going on to some of the other results, whilst we wait for Jesse Thistle to come back, Southampton 0, West Ham 0. Adrian sent off on 61 minutes, and the ref legitimately had no real other recourse apart from to send Adrian off after he tried to trap the ball, tried to kind of drop the shoulder on the striker. Completely botched it, like Daley Blind completely botched one of his touches and fell over in the first half. Completely botched it, handled outside the box, and he had to be sent off because he was last man, so it was one of them. But Stoke 1, Man City 4, Sergio Aguero scoring against the runner play on 33 minutes. Peter Crouch scoring a quality header on 38 minutes. Milner scoring on 55 minutes. Pretty damn good header of his own. Sergio Aguero scoring a penalty on 70 minutes, and Samir Nasri scoring a peach of a goal on 76 minutes. This one had a backstory to it. Crystal Palace 1, Newcastle 1. Papi Cisse opening the scoring on 42 minutes, the perennial super sub under Alan Pardew. But Alan Pardew's new guys equalised through Frazier Campbell on 71 minutes. West Brom 2, Swansea 0. Brownie Day opening the scoring on 60 minutes, and the flourishing partnership between him and Saido Berahino came up trumps on 74 minutes, where Berahino got his goal as well. Let's shift on to England women 0, USA women 1. From Friday 13th of February 2015, Morgan got the only goal of the game on 25 minutes to consign England ladies to defeat. I think the USA women are like ranked number 2 or number 3 in the world, something like that. So they're actually ranked very, very well. But Mark Sampson admitted that there is still a lot of work for the England women to do before the World Cup in Canada in the summertime, which is actually coming very, very soon. By the way, big shout outs to friends of the show, a couple of friends of the show, Sophie and Rachel of Girls on the Ball, and of course Scotty the Rabbit too. Big shout outs to them at Girls on the Ball on Twitter and Facebook.com/Girls on the Ball as well, and www.girlsontheball.com. Remember, our interview with Sophie and Rachel of Girls on the Ball is on youtube.com/Pitch Talk on the Pitch Talk Meets playlist on YouTube. Have a look for that. There's a couple of trailers up, and also all of the chapters of our full interview with Sophie and Rachel. So look at that very interesting interview. 2 of the hardest working women in football sitting down with us and giving us a fantastic interview. Let's shift on to Saturday 14th of February 2015, Valentine's Day. You know what? In terms, we got to switch the music up again, just purely because it was Valentine's Day. We switch it up. No, don't worry, I'm not going to sing again. But Saturday, 14th of February 2015, West Brom 4, West Ham 0. Brown the Day scoring on 20 minutes. James Morrison scoring on 42. Brown the Day scoring again on 57 minutes. And Saido Berahino scoring on 72 minutes. Morgan Amalfitano. Oh, God. Morgan Amalfitano, it must be said, deserves
-5 stars! -5 stars!
That's what Morgan Amalfitano deserves, because he was already going to get booked for a poor tackle, and then he went and raised his hands and decided, the referee's like, right, 1, 2, see you later. It's done. I mean, when Amalfitano, like, I mean, as if the tackle, he was going to get booked for the tackle anyway, but then when he raised his hands, it's like,
I don't know what the hell's going on here. Wait a minute, but I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
It was one of them. And Amalfitano legitimately deserved his sending off. So he got literally the 1-2 punch. Morgan Amalfitano basically got the 1-2 punch in terms of cards given. He was already going to get the booking and then got himself sent off basically straight away. I don't know if there's some sort of record for someone getting a yellow then a red after they were only going to get a yellow in the first place, but Morgan Amalfitano must bloody have it, because it was just stupid. But it's one of them was West Brom comfortable. Not just comfortable, but in the words of Jesse Fizzle, comfortable. But Dave May, you wanted to have a little something about the West Brom West Ham game.
Yeah, I just feel that with the FA Cup, you've got to, the FA Cup deserves respect. It is a competition, particularly if you're living outside the British Isles, like of England, me living over here. It's something that you respect. The FA Cup was the only live game we ever saw on television when we were growing up as kids. And if you look at last year with West Ham, they went out, I think it was against Forest, they were destroyed against Forest. There was the time when Big Sam was rocking with whether he was going to be still staying there or not. He sacrificed the FA Cup last year. He put out a second string team. He showed no respect to that cup. Well, on Saturday the FA Cup bit him back big time because West Brom destroyed him. They absolutely took them apart, and I have to admit, I was pretty chuckled with myself because on Saturday morning, I saw an article in the paper where Big Sam was building it up as this could be our year. But Sam, last year could have been your year. But you didn't decide you wanted it last year, you decided you wanted it this year, and you got done on Saturday, big time. Also, the one thing I will say to you guys, there was an awful tackle in the match. I don't know whether anybody picked it up. Claudio Jacob went in 2-footed. Now, the referee didn't even book him, I don't think, right? But in this same season, he went in 2-footed on Costa against Chelsea and he was sent off. And it was the exact same tackle. I couldn't believe it on Saturday when he stayed on the pitch. But as I said, Big Sam got stuffed for not respecting the FA Cup, guys.
No, of course. I mean, we've seen Man United stung like that before. When they decided to go over to play in the World Club Cup instead of playing in the FA Cup or the FIFA World Club Championships, or as I call it, the glorified FIFA PR mission, they snubbed the FA Cup to play in that, and Quinton Fortune was their top scorer, which gives you an idea of how bad they were that year. But it's one of them was disrespecting the FA Cup. It's one of the I think it's the oldest club tournament in
the world,
and it's like. And it's like it deserves that respect. I love the FA Cup personally. I absolutely love it. That is one cup I will never ever denigrate as a trophy and say, "Oh, it's only the FA Cup. It's only the FA Cup." No, ban that. In the FA Cup, it's fantastic.
I think for a few years when Manchester United did that with the World Club Championships, I think the FA Cup suffered. Not with just Manchester United, but the FA Cup as a competition suffered for a few seasons after that. But it's certainly on the road back to being the best cup competition in the world. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. So just look at tonight, Preston North End against Manchester United. What other country would you get that in?
No, of course. I mean, look at the upset. Look at some of the upsets we've had. I mean, speaking of upsets, Blackburn 4, Stoke 1. Peter Crouch opened the scoring on 10 minutes, but King scored on 36 minutes. Jeff Cameron got himself sent off in first half stoppage time. Rudy Gestede scored the result in penalty. King scored again on 50 minutes and 55 minutes. So it's one of them ones. Look at that as an upset. Look at that. I mean, Stoke would not have expected to have gotten turned over that convincingly, especially with some of the chances they had in the first half as well.
Yeah, but do you know what I noticed with that game as well? It was the pitch could have been a bit of a leveler there as well. I noticed over the weekend there's a couple of pitches that weren't really great, and I know we're going to move on to one later on, and I won't discuss it. But I was very impressed with Mark Hughes after they were well beat. And he came out in his interview after the match. He made no excuses. He made no excuses for anything. He said we were beaten by the better side. He said the young lad King was on fire. We just couldn't handle him. And it was a breath of fresh air to see a manager not come out and say the referee got it wrong, this got it wrong, that got it wrong. It was a very good interview, and he was magnanimous in defeat.
It's always one of them ones where you do get a lot of bitter and sore losers, but it was good to see the opposite of that. It's one of them ones. I mean, Blackburn, we're going to get on to who they've earned a match against in the next round. But I mean, looking at the FA Cup, I mean, there have been some absolutely fantastic results. And I mean, Mike Harniman, do you want to come in on West Brom, West Ham, and also the Stoke match as well?
The West Brom one, I thought they dominated it. I thought they were all over West Ham. Could easily have been 6 or 7. What's his name? Can't pronounce his name very well. Yeah, what he was doing for when he got sent off was absolutely ridiculous, and I think that should have been similar to what the referee was. Well, what they should have done with Ivanovic in the Chelsea game should have been the same. I think Brownie Day looked brilliant. I think it's like a real player, real handle, real like hard to handle player for most sides. And yeah, just West Brom, they could be one to watch out for.
No, definitely. I mean, the only thing for sure in the FA Cup this season is that nothing's for sure. It's madness. I mean, last round, this round.
The Stoke game as well. I thought Stoke, they were a bit unlucky at the end of the first half. They were kind of unlucky and a bit sloppy as well, because they could and probably should have kept their concentration all the way through, because obviously the penalty was in like the 52nd minute, the 7th minute of added time.
Yeah.
So they kind of have that to look back a bit, but it was kind of a dominant performance from Blackburn overall.
Nah, definitely. I mean, especially second half. Oh, smacked it. I mean, Derby 1, Reading 2 is the next result we're going to go on to. Stephen Warnock, ironically, Leeds' ex-captain, getting sent off on 39 minutes. Hal Robson-Kanu got the first goal again on 53 minutes. Darren Bent scored on 61 minutes. And Agbeni Yakubu scored on 82 minutes. The next result, the one I love the best, because I always have the live bird upon my chest and in my heart. And as well, then was Crystal Palace 1, Liverpool 2. Fraser Campbell opened the scoring on 15 minutes after a bit of a mix-up with Martin Skirtle and Simon Mignolet. It was one of them ones, easier said than done to get that header right. But Daniel Sturridge equalised on 49 minutes, and him and Moreno did the dance, did the studge. I love it. It was hilarious. But then Adam Lallana on 58 minutes, showing not only predatory instincts, but showing that he switched on. The football brain is switched on. Because Balotelli's free kick. And Preston have just taken the lead. 47 minutes gone. And Deepdale is going crazy. Deepdale is going crazy. Preston North End 1, Manchester United 0. And it was a pretty damn good finish. It was a pretty damn good finish. Jazzy Fizzle, are you back with us?
No.
Are you? Where's Ainsley Harriott? You look upset. You seem upset. You might not even get to face Arsenal in the next round at this rate. But once again, look at that. People not tracking runs properly. I think that's Ander Herrera on the right hand side, not tracking a run properly. And boy, it's an emphatic finish. And De Gea, you'd expect him to actually do better on that one. But it's a fantastic finish. And big time deflection off Antonio Valencia, who again was slow to react as well. But Simon Grayson, look what it means to him. Look what it means. Undercutting the air, and look what it means to all of those Preston players. Nice goal by Led. And the funny thing is, Mike Harniman actually called it earlier that Led would get the winner. So Mike Harniman, I hope you put money on that one. It looked like the shot was on target, so if it was on target, it'll give. If it was going on target, it'll get given as Led's goal. So it's one of them ones. But I think someone actually has thrown something onto the pitch which has stopped the game for a sec. But Led has been, well, at least by the BBC, credited with it right now. So it's one of them ones. De Gea didn't do the best on that. But back to Palace 1, Liverpool 2. One team that is guaranteed to be in the 6th round of the FA Cup, unlike certain teams right now. Anyway, so just
stop saying that with a smile. I can hear the smile on your face. It's disgusting.
How can you hear a smile?
It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace.
Where's Drogba at? But no, it's well, no, but it's
disgrace.
I can't do that. But anyway, Adam Lallana showing the intelligence, because the run, he was like 2-3 yards in front of every single Palace player when he tapped that ball home. And Balotelli got it spot on with the free kick. Tested the goalkeeper on a wet pitch. Made it bounce right in front of the keeper. Speroni couldn't hold it. Dropped it. Lallana was right there because he was switched on and he started his run first. He was clearly onside when he started his run. And also the fact is, I love the fact that we had two guys in the wall. Those two broke apart and gave Balotelli the alleyway to hit the ball through. So it's one of them. It's been a very good week for Mario Balotelli, it must be said. And a very good week for Liverpool Football Club. Love it. Love it. I don't like it. I love it. And with Man United being 1-0 down to Preston, I don't like it. I love it. I love it. All I can say is if it stays like this, Jesse, life sucks and then you die. To quote Vinnie Mac. But but Dwight Gale
when it changes.
Well,
when it changes,
I don't know what the hell is going on. That's when if it changes. It's not when, it's if.
When it changes.
It's if. But you have to put on the brave face when your team goes 1-0 down. So it's all good. Especially when it's down sloppy defending. Curveball, Harniman, strike one. But no, it's one of them was Dwight Gale's diving. Yeah, Dwight Gale's diving. It's one of them was he tried it. He He got Henderson booked. For one. And it was that when you saw the lack of contact and you're seeing the refs getting conned like this, it's embarrassing to an extent. But hey, it's one of them was, I guess, swings and roundabouts. We had Suarez doing it for a couple of seasons, so hey, swings and roundabouts. But at least it didn't really matter in the end. So it's one of them ones. But moving on to Sunday, 15th February 2015, Aston Villa 2, Leicester City 1. Bakuna opening the scoring on 68 minutes, and Scott Sinclair scoring on 89 minutes, and Kramaric scoring in second half stoppage time. Bit of an odd one there actually, because Villa have been goal shy. Have been very, very goal shy this season. So, but hey, they're through. They got through the fifth round. Bradford 2, Sunderland 0. And some people are saying, hey, is this an upset anymore? Because Bradford, after Chelsea, it was interesting. It was at almost 2-0 from Preston. Preston not resting on their laurels at all. But John O'Shea own goal on 3 minutes opened the scoring. And the funny thing about that goal is that John O'Shea was actually quite unlucky. That could have been a penalty there, easy. Is one of them was John O'Shea was actually kind of unlucky with that goal. But in the first instance, if you look at the way that when that ball came in, O'Shea didn't deal with the bounce. So it was a case of with O'Shea not dealing with the bounce on it. He kind of dug his own grave a bit. But hey, it'd be one of them ones. But John Stead, the man who has scored a goal in every round, scored on 61 minutes. And a lot has been made of the BBC not showing that match. But there is a process to those kind of things anyway. So apparently it was done before they knew Bradford were going through. So these things are usually done way in advance. So it's one that was not necessarily the BBC's fault for not showing it. But I love the Bradford City Twitter page at Official Bantams. They were like, yep, Bradford City 1, BBC 0. Love it. I love it. And apparently there was the chance of, are you watching BBC as well? But in terms of an awful pitch, oh God, Valley Parade looked terrible. But sometimes it can be, as Dave Meir said earlier, sometimes it can be an equaliser. Sometimes it can be the great equaliser, a poor pitch. It really can be. To these teams that are used to playing on carpet and not used to playing on almost amateur league standard pitches, Dukes Meadows style pitches, it could definitely be an equaliser. So, all good. Dave Meir, you want to jump in on Bradford Sunderland?
Yeah, just in the issue of the pitch, Gus Poyet had a couple of guys looking at the match there earlier in the week or last weekend, and he got reports back that the pitch was in an awful state. And on Thursday, apparently he's come out and he said he's going down to a ground that's like a bog. It's in an awful state. They're not looking forward to playing on it. 3 minutes in, they go 1-0 down. That was caused in the dressing room. Gus Poyet had his players thinking the pitch was going to be a leveller, and it levelled it out after 3 minutes. Now, luckily enough, guys, the BBC may have not shown that match in England yesterday. We got it live here, and Bradford were 150%, what would you say, due to win. They were absolutely brilliant. There was one issue in the game where Taylor, Fletcher Taylor, or whatever that Taylor fellow at the front for Sunderland, got in, and it was a tackle. Now, I thought it was a penalty, and the referee didn't give it. Sunderland were in arms about it. Now, it would have been 1-1 at the time, and we might have made a difference to the game. But believe it or not, it was our friend Kevin Friend And Kevin was refereeing Newcastle and Sunderland a week or so ago, and I had a go with him over not sending off. I think it was. Remember the guy that scored the equaliser or the winner? A couple of seconds before he actually scored, he should have got booked for a second yellow card. Referee didn't do it. I thought Kevin would have had a week off. He actually refereed the match yesterday, and I did think he missed a big penalty claim for Sunderland. But as I said at the start of this, Gus Poyet did Bradford managers team talk for talking about that pitch on Thursday. All they was pinning up on the wall for the boys to listen to, and they said they went out and within 3 minutes were 1-0 down.
Yeah, I mean, Phil Parkinson must have been thinking, yep, they're complaining about the pitch. They're obviously worried about it. They're distracted about it. Good, we'll punish them whilst they're distracted. And
absolutely,
I mean, you see that all the time. Those kind of games. I mean, they'll probably fix up the pitch for the next league game, but then for the next FA Cup game, it'd be like, oh no, we had to relay some stuff and it hasn't come yet, or some convenient thing. You can do that.
It's not breaking any rules. It's not breaking any rules, and there's no issue whatsoever. Another side swipe to that whole game was Gus Poyet came out after the match and had a go at his own fans. Now, if you're having a go at your own fans, you're on a very sticky wicket.
No, of course, and it's one of them. I mean, there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, yeah, his job might be under threat," and if his job is under threat, then he sounds like he's going to go out swinging if he's bloody starting complaining at his own fans. It's never good to burn bridges with those who are supposed to be supporting you.
Absolutely, like you want fans behind you, not against you. And when they went 2-0 down yesterday, the fans, you could clearly see it. As I said, I saw the game live. The Sunderland fans just totally turned on him. You don't know what you're doing. That's all you can hear out of them. You don't know what you're doing. And he reacted to it after the match. He could have reacted and said, I was disappointed with the fans that he didn't get behind us, but he actually had a go at them. He didn't word it right. They had a go at him. He could be on a sticky wicket there. A bit late in the day now to be getting rid of him, though, because if they get rid of him, who are they going to get?
No, that's a good point. I mean, that's the thing. That's what a lot of fans don't seem to realize and don't seem to think about. If you get rid of your current manager, who's going to touch that? I mean, we've got something about Aston Villa coming up anyway, but it's one of them ones. But I would see that as kind of a poison chalice. But I mean, of course, a lot of fans never really think long term about that, sadly. But we'll see what happens with the Poyet deal. But Arsenal 2, Middlesbrough 0 is the next result. Olivier Giroud scoring on 27 minutes, on 29 minutes scoring as well. This is a match that we were doing live updates on. First one, lovely team goal. Second one, the volley, technique to a T. I think Giroud will be battling Zamora for goal of the week this week. Remember, start for the week is later on in the show. Two nice goals in this, and Arsenal were always in control. They always were in control. Middlesbrough didn't look like the threat they used to be when they were in the Premier League, upsetting teams. They just didn't look that great. So it was one of them ones. I mean, Gabriel didn't really have a great deal to do, to be honest. Gabriel Paulista, but it's a bit disappointing from Middlesbrough in all honesty in terms of performance. But obviously they've got the promotion chase to concern themselves with, so that's probably the most important thing to them. So it's one of them. I mean, Mike Harniman, you were there, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. I thought Arsenal played really well, really dominant. 2 goals from Giroud were absolutely brilliant, right in front of us as well, both goals. Absolutely, first one probably will be up there for goal of the week, and rightly so, because obviously every player touched the ball prior to the goal, and that was some great build-up. And the second goal from the corner, I thought Sanchez was really sort of quick. His thinking was really quick, and Giroud's movement to actually get into the position as well was really good. So yeah, I was quite pleased with the overall performance, and just nice to see Giroud getting a couple of goals. Paulista wasn't tested, but what he did do, he done with minimal problems. Made a couple of nice tackles and good couple of headers and that. And Santi Cazorla run it in midfield as usual.
No, I hear that. By the way, Ashley Young is on and Falcao is off. Would love to get Jazzy Fizzle's thoughts on that one, because that's a very peculiar substitution. That is actually a very peculiar.
Well,
Well, give us a sec. Give me a sec.
It depends on what you call peculiar, right? Because if we go back to the World Cup, right, when Louis van Gaal decided to go and substitute his goalkeeper, right, and change goalkeepers just for penalty shootout, what were we saying? It's very peculiar. Here's my thing, right? He's gone and done his coaching.
Their keeper was think big guy as well. So.
No, well, my thing is this: he's gone and done his coaching badges, and he's been a manager for a very long time. He's managed in quite a few different countries, and he's managed some of the biggest clubs in the world. So, in terms of stats, he's actually not doing much better than David Moyes was at the same point in the season. But yeah, carry on. Ooh, and then 2-0. Here's the thing with statistics, right? They say there's lies, damn lies, and then there's statistics.
Yeah.
Right? We can go and turn statistics around any which way you want. So, here's the thing. The whole David Moyes thing,
all right, but the young Falcao thing quickly before we move on. What do you reckon about that sub?
I personally think, given that he's an experienced manager, he's probably seen something either in Falcao's performance or the team's performance where taking off Falcao is justified. Now, from what I'd seen of Falcao, he still looked a little bit short in terms of burst of pace, making space, getting the room required, so on and so forth. So in terms of where Ashley Young is actually going to play positionally, that's going to be interesting. Maybe he happens to move into a wider position. Maybe Di Maria goes more central.
It looks
off Rooney.
It looks almost like Fellaini's one at the moment because it looks like Young's wide on the right for now. So
right.
That's just for now anyway.
So, it's going to be interesting how it pans out. But he obviously has a clear, defined idea of what he wants to happen. And that's the reason why he made the change. The other thing, as I say, if you look at Falcao's form in the last few games, has he been scintillating? No, he hasn't.
So why is he playing instead of Van Persie then? I'll put you on the spot.
I don't pick the team.
No, but why do you think? Don't cop out on me and sit on the fence. Why?
No. I'm not copping out. I'm saying I don't pick the team. He must have seen something in training where Falcao happened to look particularly good, or Robin Van Persie happened to look particularly bad. There's got to be a reason for it somewhere. So I happen to think he must have seen something where he thought, right, actually, this might be a good game for Falcao to go and fill his boots a little bit. Whereas, as we've seen in terms of application, that's not been the case.
I was going to say, after Cambridge, you might not want to be underestimating anyone. That Cambridge first leg away from home, but it's one of them.
Well, it's like I was saying before, and I said last week, we can measure a player's technical ability in terms of what he can do with a football, right? But what you can't measure is his heart and desire.
Of course, and Wilson seems to have a bit more heart and desire.
So, my thing is this, is like right now, he's trying to help Falcao mentally, because I think that's the biggest thing, mentally rediscover who he is. Now, I always talk about Fernando Torres in that I happen to believe that when Fernando Torres went home to Atletico and Diego Simeone happened to get his hands on him, he's been reborn. Like literally, whoever he was at Chelsea has gone away, disappeared. Whoever he was at AC Milan, gone away, disappeared, and the old Fernando Torres has come back.
Yeah, I heard that.
So I think it's a mental adjustment personally, and of course there's still a lot of the game left to go, so we'll wait and see. The other thing is, everybody wants to go and talk about this particular game, and maybe it's just because it's Manchester United and a lot of people like to watch Manchester United lose.
Everybody likes to watch the big teams lose, yes.
Here's my thing, right? It's not so much of a shock in the FA Cup if a so-called lower team happens to knock out a bigger team, because here's the thing.
It is a shock. And it's one each. 64 minutes gone. And the Herrera's equalised. 64 minutes gone, one each.
What you said before? Weren't you saying that you were going to say, I don't know what the hell's going on here?
No, I actually...
You don't like... Did you not say that?
No,
because I remember you saying some hot mess like that. So here's my thing. What did I say? I said, when it changes...
It's far from over yet, though. 25 more minutes.
When it changes... So here's my thing. How do you like me now?
Okay, Bob. Okay, Bob. I was actually watching Sunday Night Heats from 1999 earlier. Okay, Bob Holly. I might start calling you Sparky Plug. Now that
was one of my favourite gimmicks of his, by the way. I want to point out.
You know what? The offside rule is an interesting one because of this whole passive and active one. It's just come up there with where Rooney was standing, and Rooney, even though he didn't touch it and he moved out of the way, he was close enough to take the eye of the goalkeeper and distract him. Now, sometimes you get that interpreted as interfering with play. And once again, this is where the offside rule is a bit bugging and needs to be made more black and white. But speaking of black and white, FA Cup 6th round draw: Liverpool v Blackburn, Bradford v Reading, Preston North End or Man United v Arsenal, Aston Villa v West Bromwich Albion, and those ties are to be played on the 7th and 8th of March 2015. Now, Man United Arsenal will be very, very interesting if that happens. Raw. Was that a back body drop? Is that a back body drop by Kilkenny? He's getting booked for it. But no, it's a case of Liverpool Blackburn. I will take that as a draw all day long. Bradford v Reading looks very, very tasty. That could be tasty. Villa West Brom's an interesting one as well. Look at that Samoan drop. Ashley Cole just got Samoan dropped. The only thing Kilkenny didn't do is go down with him. Oh my God, the Rock would be proud of that one. But yeah, Liverpool Blackburn is going to be an interesting match, and as I said pre-show when the draw was made, I'm hoping that that's a 5:30 kickoff, because obviously with me being kind of assistant manager / captain of the Ibis Freeze, and Carl Bolton being the manager, he's a Blackburn supporter. And me being a Liverpool supporter, it just makes it very, very interesting. So hopefully we'll get a win for the Ibis, then go and watch the match, and we'll get a win for Liverpool as well. So it will be a lot of fun. Jazzy, what do you reckon of the FA Cup draw then? Where is he? Jazzy. I think he's having some tech difficulties. Kieran Riley, you want to jump in on the FA Cup draw, especially West Brom Villa?
I think West Brom Villa is going to be a decent game, but considering the poor run Villa are on at the moment, West Brom definitely probably going to literally kick their backside, so to speak, in nice language.
He's been very generous about it. I mean the 6th round draw, it's at the stage where it looks very, very interesting, and this match between Preston North End and Man United is interesting in itself. And Garner's just won a free kick on 68 minutes. Still 1-1. Preston North End 1, Manchester United 1. The winners of this to face Arsenal. Man United Arsenal is going to be an interesting one if it happens. There's no guarantee of it yet. Mike Harniman, you wanted to jump in on the FA Cup draw?
Yeah, just quickly. If it is United, we've got to really be on our game. We've got to be basically playing how we did against City to actually get any kind of result. We've got to kind of show them the respect that they deserve, and basically, if we do that, I think we'll be all right. But we can't, where it's at Old Trafford as well. It's kind of going to be difficult for us to get a result, but I think we could do it.
I heard it. It's one of the one things for sure. It's going to be very interesting. If you're going to retain the cup, you're going to have to get through at least some bumpy weather, stormy weather. It must be said. Just waiting for that free kick that just clipped the top of the net on its way. But you know what? It is about that time. Ian Kerr of Thin White Line, are you with us?
Good evening, everybody.
When, for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching and listening at home via YouTube and back on the podcast as well on iTunes, Mixcloud, Podomatic, and Spreaker. Oh, let's get ready for a roundup. Oh, you didn't know? Ian Kerr's going to tell you about A-League football.
Thank you again for that restrained, modest, and not at all over the top introduction, Liam.
Scripted ad-libs here.
Look, when it comes to subtlety, I mean, pitch talk is up there. You guys take low key to new highs, as they say. Now, let's get straight into it. Look, interesting round in the A-League over the weekend. We had 5 games and only 1 result. That is, the rest were all draws. First game up was Friday night, Central Coast 0, Brisbane Roar 2. Brisbane starting to get their season back on track. They're back in the top 6, which again, as I say every week, it's only a 10-team league, so you can't get too carried away. But 6th gets you into the finals. Wellington Phoenix at home drew 0-0 with Melbourne City. Melbourne City drop out of the top 6. Again, I know I say it every week, but I know, throw your petrodollars at a team that plays in a league with a salary cap, and you're just throwing your petrodollars away. Theory is, of course, that the whole reason for City Football Group's investment in Melbourne City is so that they can basically get around the financial fair play rules. Now, bear with me on this one. This is verging on conspiracy theory territory here, but we're not going to mention how hot jet fuel melts steel beams. So, by investing in this club, then Melbourne City pays, and it's the same for New York City, they both pay Manchester City license fees and fees for intellectual property. So that appears on the balance sheet for Manchester City as income, which means that then they can spend more money on wages and transfer fees, etc., etc. So this is a way for Manchester City to actually get around the financial fair play rules. So there you go. Just pop that one in your in your whatever you pop those things in, and ponder that one. Let's get back to the results though. Saturday, Newcastle Jets 1, drew 1-1 with Western Sydney. So Western Sydney, that was the what do they call it? The Battle of the Cellar Dwellers. 9th playing 10th. It was a 1-1 draw. Then Saturday night, there was the real controversy, or if you prefer, controversy. Depends entirely upon what kind of school you went to. 3-3 draw in the big meeting between Sydney and Melbourne Victory. Now, 3-3 sounds like an entertaining game, but believe me, there are Melbourne Victory supporters all over the country who are just about ready to murder the ref who was involved, because he gave away possibly the most ridiculous penalty I've ever seen. Now, remember back in the World Cup, who was it? It was a Brazil game. I can't remember who Brazil was playing. It was a Japanese ref, and Brazil got a very soft penalty.
Was it against Croatia? Wasn't it against Croatia in the opener?
Croatia. Okay, now, was that a penalty or not? No. The answer is no, it wasn't a penalty. Well, this penalty we saw on Saturday night was even worse. A Sydney player went down in the penalty box with nobody around him, and the referee gave a penalty. Anyway, just as well there were only about 5 Melbourne Victory supporters there, because it wasn't going to be much of a riot if anything went awry. Anyway, so there you go, 3-3 on Saturday night, and then to round out the round, Adelaide United drew 1-1 with Perth Glory at home in Adelaide. Now let me share you a little bit of magic. After the game, some of the Perth Glory players went out to an Adelaide nightclub. I mean, I didn't even know they had nightclubs in Adelaide, but there you go. Obviously, the 20th century has finally made it to South Australia, and they got into a bit of strife with the local constabulary. And now they're going to, one of the players is what's his name? Oh gosh, what is his name? Irish international, whose name eludes me. Keogh, who's been playing there in Perth, he could well end up being suspended for a round. Anyway, so there you go. So just to give you a quick rundown of the ladder, Perth Glory still on top after that 1-1 draw. Melbourne Victory 1 point behind after their 3-3 draw. Adelaide United in third. Wellington Phoenix, Sydney FC, Brisbane Roar rounding out the top 6. Melbourne City 1 point outside the top 6. Central Coast third last, and their season's probably over. Newcastle Jets and Western Sydney Wanderers propping up the table, and there you go. I could tell you a whole lot more. Do you want me to tell you more, or shall we wrap it up here, or leave people wanting more for next week?
Leave them salivating. Although Dave Mayer does actually have a question for you. Dave, would you like to ask
a question?
Yeah, I was just following up there. You briefly touched on it. Andy Keogh getting himself into trouble. It was Saturday night after the match. Have you any idea what it was about?
If it was at a nightclub, I hope it was about a girl.
You hope,
Because otherwise, if you're having a fight because somebody, spilt your drink. Here's a lesson to all you young bucks at home, because it's Monday night. It's the only night of the week that you should be at home. Every other night of the week, you should be out. Do you understand me? Right? If you are under the age of 30, Monday night, stay at home, watch The Bill or whatever's on TV on Monday nights these days.
And join us as well.
What's that?
And join us here at Pitch Talk as well.
Well, exactly. I mean, is there a greater motivation to be near an internet connection on a Monday night? Possibly. I've heard what you guys talk about when I'm not around. Anyway, so yes, if you're going to get into a fight at a nightclub, make it about a girl or a boy, whatever. I mean, let's not.
Not
be
that there's anything
here.
wrong with that.
As I say, look, it's a modern society, and we shouldn't be judgmental about people and their preferences. But I don't know much more than that, other than one of his teammates was arrested for failing to move on when ordered to by police. I mean, some people are genuinely thick, aren't they? Just genuinely thick. If you're gonna.
It's a great reason.
That is why they're footballers. Okay, and that's what they say. They're not smart enough to be a hairdresser, so they become a footballer. Honest to goodness, just what the stupidity, the mentality of some people just boggles my mind. Anyway, look, if I get some more information, I'll let you know next week. But I can tell you that the Football Federation in Australia has opened up an investigation into the matter. They're also going to be investigating the whole schmozzle on Saturday night, whether or not it really was a penalty, because there's a bit of afters, shall we say, after the non-penalty was awarded. So watch this space. I have an update for you all next week.
I can't wait for it. And you know what? Once again, we'd like to say thank you very much for issue 1 of Thin White Line magazine. And please let us know. And of course, Pitch Talk features in issue 1 of Thin White Line magazine. Ian, where do we get that magazine and where can we hear your podcast as well?
Well, look, that's a great question. And again, what did you call them? The unscripted ad-libs or scripted ad-libs? I can't remember now.
Usually don't do the scripted
I appreciate all scripted and unscripted ad-libs. Anyway, so issue 1 of Thin White Line is available right now. It's been available for a year, right? So if you're only just getting onto it, now you've picked a great time because it's at half price. If you go to our website, thinwhitelinemagazine.com, go to the shop, you'll see that Thin White Line issue 1, which, as Liam said, features the good people of Pitch Talk. It's on sale at half price, so it'll only set you back $14 Australian, which is about £2, which is about the cost of a Yorkie bar, plus postage, of course. $14, that's Australian dollars, as I said. Unlike the ruble, our currency hasn't completely collapsed, but it's on its way. Guess what? Petrol in Australia, under $1 a litre. Think about that, boys. Now, thinwhitelinemagazine.com, go to the shop, 50% off issue 1, 25% off issue 2. Issue 2's got Jurgen Klopp on the cover. All right, so get into it. You can, if you have already bought a copy of the magazine, and I know you haven't, get in there, buy it. Anyway, if you can also listen to our podcast. We released a new podcast during the week. Just go to our website, thinwhitelinemagazine.com. You'll see a link there for the podcast, or search for us in iTunes. You can follow us on Twitter with the Tweet White Line handle. We're on Instagram with goodness knows what. But look, we're not posting pictures of girls in bikinis, so why would you follow us on Instagram? Or you can like us on Facebook, Thin White Line Magazine. Search for us in your social media, and you'll find us there somewhere.
There we go. See, people, that's where you can find everything thinwhitelinemagazine.com. There we go. Ian, thank you very much once again for the A-League Roundup. Remember, it's a weekly staple with Pitch Talk. It's one of them. So, you know what? That brings to an end that particular segment, because it's time for us to move on, baby. There's been big news happening this week, and now it is time to go into. And by the way, Man United are 2-1 up against Preston North End with 10 minutes left, and Preston still pressing for an equaliser and unlucky there. 79.5 minutes gone. It's still Preston North End that 1, Man United 2, but there looks like there's another goal in this game. But we've got big news to talk about, so let's go into.
General Talking Points.
This is Monday night and we are live on Pitch Talk. This is your Monday Night Footballing Fix. Shout out in the Skype chat about -5 stars. Cause they're singing is fantastico. Cause this is Pitch Talk. Yeah. General Talking Boys. Let's dive straight in. QPR, Chris Ramsey named manager until the end of the season. From the 13th of February 2015, QPR caretaker boss Chris Ramsey has been given the manager's job until the end of the season. Ramsey, who's 52 years old, had been in temporary charge at Loftus Road with director of football Les Ferdinand after Harry Redknapp had to quit to have knee surgery. QPR confirmed the appointment on Friday night, with Ramsey working alongside first team coach Kevin Bond and goalkeeping coach Kevin Hitchcock. Les Ferdinand will oversee the trio and also be involved in training. Now, the former England under-20 manager worked closely with former Spurs boss Redknapp and will continue to be involved in the running of QPR's academy. Now, Lambert, last Wednesday, Paul Lambert was sacked. They sacked him after a winless run of 10 league games in which they scored just twice. But Tim Sherwood has been appointed the manager at Aston Villa, signed a contract at the club until the summer of 2018 on the 14th of February 2015. Nice little Valentine's Day present for him. Sherwood replaced Andre Villas-Boas as Tottenham manager in December 2013, but was sacked at the end of last season and has been out of work since. Another interesting story to kind of add to those couple as well is Steve Simonson, banned by the Scottish Football Association for gambling rule breach on the 12th of February 2015. Rangers keeper Steve Simonson has been banned for 2 games after being found guilty of betting on 55 games following a hearing before an independent panel. His 2-match punishment for breaching Scottish Football Association gambling rules includes a 1-game suspended ban until the end of the season. The SFA can appeal against the judgment, but Rangers say themselves will not lodge an appeal. None of the games Simonson, who's 35, bet on involved Rangers. Assistant manager Gordon Jury hopes the outcome of the hearing will send out a message to other players not to bet on football matches. The notice of complaint issued to Simonson by the SFA detailed bets on 18 matches last season and 37 in the current campaign. SFA Disciplinary Rule 33 prohibits players, coaches, club officials and referees in Scotland from betting on football anywhere in the world. So he's got an immediate 1-match ban with a suspended one there as well. And you know what, yeah, the thing with this is Simonson's in September 2013, Simonson's Ibrox teammate Ian Black was fined and given a 10-match ban, 7 of which were suspended for a gambling breach. So a 2-match ban seems kind of weird, but at the same time, a 2-match ban is not going to be a deterrent. It's not going to be a deterrent. You're not supposed to bet on matches. You got caught betting on matches and you're banned for only 2 games. Basically, you may as well call it 1 because the second one is suspended. So it's a paltry ban. There's no mention of a fine there either. I just find that very odd. One thing I also find odd, Tony Fernandes has apparently found his dream manager, but apparently he won't be able to get him until the end of the season. So that's going to be an interesting one. But Tim Sherwood being taken on at Aston Villa, it looked like Villa was his second choice, because apparently he was talking to QPR. Those talks broke down, and then a day later he's at Aston. He just so happens to pop up at Aston Villa. And it's like, okay. It's like, okay, cool. All right, we see this. Villa looks like a second choice. I'm surprised that Tim Shelby took that on, because Villa potential poison chalice, just because so few goals there. But at the end of the day, there is talent there. But one thing they do need to immediately address is that lack of goals. Where they really do need to. I mean, Tim Sherwood needs to come in and hit the ground running on that one. But Randy Lerner is kind of an odd one, because a couple of weeks ago, if not a week ago, he was like, no, we're sticking with Lambert, it's fine. And also one of the things that I think might have affected Lambert and Villa is the constant kind of distraction of Randy Lerner potentially looking to sell the club, which he also reneged on that about a month or so ago. That looks a dive. What? Rooney's gone down. Looks like a penalty's been given, and Preston's keeper has been booked on 86 minutes. Wouldn't mind seeing that again on a replay. But no, the fact of the matter is, looked like a dive to me, and it was. Well done, Wayne Rooney. No contact at all. It looked a dive in motion, and it was. Well, congratulations, Wayne Rooney, diving to win a penalty. Well done. Fantastic. It was one of them mate, Preston's keeper will feel hard done by that. That's a yellow card that should definitely be rescinded. One thing to that refereeing decision.
-5 stars. -5 stars.
Gotta give it to that. But yeah, as I said, with Randy Lerner reneging on wanting to sell the club, it's just a weird one because he, I don't know, that sort of uncertainty can destabilize the team and could be a huge distraction, because if a manager doesn't know what's going on with the owner's head in terms of whether he wants to keep the club or not, how can he know whether his job's safe? So there's that pressure being played under. By the way, Man United are 3-1 up. Rooney diving to win a penalty. Has to be said, Rooney dived to win the penalty. There was no contact. He put the penalty away very well, but it shouldn't have been a penalty. But Jazzy Fizzle, tell me you're there.
I'm not there.
Rooney, your thoughts on the dive? Because it clearly was. There was no contact.
I just seen it, right? Now, I've got two views on that decision. Right?
Okay. You may want to take the blinkers off first, but yeah, go on.
No one said anything about blinkers.
Okay, go ahead.
I said I have two views in it. There's nothing about blinkers.
All right.
Right, my first view on it is, right, it's absolutely not a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a penalty at all. Although I can understand why it happened the way it happened. In that, if you look at it, right, what's really going on, Rooney tries to get out of the way of the contact, tries to avoid the contact, doesn't plant his feet after jumping away from the challenge, right, and then goes down.
But there was no contact.
I did say that there wasn't contact. I did say that.
No, but it's just the fact that he's trying to jump out of the way of the contact, but there is no contact.
I wasn't shirking away from that.
Yeah.
Right? What it was, he sees the goalkeeper coming, sees the potential contact, and it is quite close. Especially when you consider the fact that everything's going at speed.
But going down under potential contact is cheating.
Very, very, very easy, right, to watch it in a slow motion replay and say, nah.
But I looked at it in real time and thought it wasn't a penalty.
I didn't say that it was a penalty.
Yeah, I'm saying I'm not just judging it based on slow motion. I was looking at it. I was looking at it in real time and didn't think it was a penalty. It looked to dive for me.
Right? For me, it's not a penalty. That's the first thing that I said, and I want to reiterate that. Okay, so we can get that bit out of the way.
Okay.
The second bit of it, as I said, right, looking at it in real time, I can understand how it happens because there's no chance for Rooney to plant after he tries to evade the challenge. Now, should it have been a penalty? No, but I also think it would have been quite harsh, right, to judge it as a booking. But
I would have booked him because there was no contact.
Booked him, right? And you talk about blinkers, right? Well, you can keep yours on. That's fine.
I ain't got no blinkers on. I'm of the mindset similar to what Dwight Gale did on the weekend. He should have been booked against Henderson. Against Henderson, correct me if I'm wrong. No contact, and Dwight Gale didn't get booked for it. Henderson got booked for it. Am I wrong on that?
When I happened to ask you, right, about the slap, yeah, that Raheem Sterling gave to that Swansea player during that game.
Yeah, he should have been sent off, and I said that.
There's nothing out of you. Nothing out of you. So here's this. Right?
What do you mean nothing out of me? Bro, there's audio proof. That match was going on whilst we were on air. What do you mean there was nothing out of me?
I know it was going to worry on air. But here's my thing.
But there's audio proof. There's audio proof of my reaction to that, and I was like, "You should have been sent off."
It says to you, right? It's not a penalty. It's not. Yeah. It's an undeserved penalty. Now, here's my thing. I don't necessarily think, right, out and out, he was looking for the dive. I honestly think
he's done it. Though.
He misses his chance to plant his foot. That's what happens. But the interesting part of the whole scenario is right after he goes down, he immediately looks to the referee. That's the interesting thing about it.
But we've seen him. No, but we've seen Rooney exactly do that before. He did it against us. He did it against us about 4 or 5 years ago, where he's in mid-air looking at the referee, and it's like, "What are you looking at the referee in mid-air for?" It's
after the event that he's looking after the referee. But I said to you, that's the thing that I personally find quite interesting about it.
I find that to be disgraceful.
But I honestly think, right, that's based on the fact that, well, look, like you, most people would just jump on it and say, well, he dived.
Yeah.
Right? And as I say, for me, I personally don't think he's actively trying to dive. I think he tries to plant his foot.
But he has dived. But he has dived. He's gone down under no contact.
If you watch where his feet go, right, he cannot plant his foot, and that's why he goes down.
But the thing is, there's been no contact. Technically, if you go down and there's no contact, that's a dive.
What I'm saying to you.
No. Am I wrong on that? If you go down when there's no contact, that's a dive. That's simulation. That's cheating.
I don't believe there's intent to dive in that.
You mean intent? I don't give a damn whether there's intent to dive. You've either dived or you haven't. It's a pretty black and white thing. It's either if there's been no contact and you've gone down, that's simulation. Simulation, aka diving, aka cheating. Am I wrong on that?
We throw it to everybody else and get some other opinion.
Yeah, I'd like to hear Dave Mears' opinion on it. Mears, you want to jump in?
Yeah. Now this is the only the word I can use here is anticipating the tackle, and this is one that's crept into the game over the last couple of months, and it's certainly been used every Saturday with Mr. Michael Owen because he loves this. He anticipated the tackle, so he couldn't plant his foot, and that's why he went down. And this is the excuses these guys are making. Yeah. That was a dive. The minute I saw it, it was a dive. I didn't have to look at angles behind the goal or to the side of the goal. He dived. You knew by his body action. When he went over the keeper, he was looking back at the referee. You know, what's that all about?
Exactly. I'm in total agreement with you.
It's the word they're using now to cover themselves is he was anticipating the tackle. Well, I'm sorry, unless you're tackled, you don't go down. If you decide to go down, you take the tackle, referee blows for the penalty. What they're doing is they're conning the referees, and they're so good at it. But what gets up my go is the fact that you've got guys on television. Martin Keown has just said that Rooney was correct in going down and diving. These are actually agreeing with cheating. There's kids looking at this, man.
Exactly. That's it. See, it's one of them. It adds fuel to the fire of my age-old argument that footballers shouldn't be role models. It adds so much fuel to the fire because it's teaching people that, you know what. What's it? It's basically teaching the old Jerry the King Lawler line. It's not cheating if you don't get caught.
Absolutely, 100% agree with you.
Which is a disgrace.
But, you know, you look at kids all over the parks now at the weekend, and they'll be doing it to referees, and referees will be buying it as well because I saw Wayne Rooney doing it on the television on Monday night.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of them ones. I don't think footballers should be role models on a general basis anyway. Full time, by the way, Man United have gone through. Preston North End won, Man United 3. The controversy on the third goal with Rooney's dive for the penalty.
Yeah, I do. We can talk about controversy, guys, but let's just go back to earlier in the match. Just go back and let me just have me saying this. They went 1-0 down. They didn't panic, and I have to admit, fair play to Van Gaal. He changed it, and he's come out winner. Whether it be 2-1, 3-1, he changed it. He didn't panic, and he could have panicked. They could have gone out because Preston should have been 2 up, and he just settled it down and he made a change, and it's worked for him. I still keep saying it to you guys. Manchester United's name is on this FA Cup.
If it is, there's a tinge of controversy in it. But
I agree with you.
But coming back to the Chris Ramsey being named as QPR manager until the end of the season, Sherwood being appointed as Villa boss, I'm surprised Sherwood went for it. But I think Mike Harniman's right in terms of Villa's probably the better fit instead of QPR. But we'll see.
Can I come in there on that one?
Yeah, of course you can. Come in on that, and also the Simonson one as well.
You were talking about Sherwood, not getting the Queen's Park Rangers job. Tim Sherwood has been bandied about an awful lot this season. He also was in for the Brighton job and he didn't get it. Chris Hughton got that one. He didn't get the Queen's Park Rangers job. Apparently that broke down at last minute. There was last minute talks and it broke down. And then Villa came along. To me, Sherwood has been just waiting for an opportunity to get in somewhere before his name disappears over the hill.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a good fit with Villa. I was listening to Darren Lewis from the Mirror this evening, and Darren Lewis is big involvement with Spurs as regards to when he's doing his journalistic work, and there's a lot of players that Spurs wouldn't play for Sherwood last season. That's why he ended up going out the door. I don't think the man has the experience to get Villa out of what the Villa players don't even know how to get themselves out of. It's not about it is about goal scoring, but if you're in mid-table and you're not scoring, fair enough. But to be down at the bottom of the league and not scoring, that takes a man of experience, the likes of Tony Pulis, someone like that knows the league and knows how to get out of it. I can see Villa going through the trapdoor here by appointing Sherwood. I think it was an awful decision to give him the job.
I can't say I disagree with you too much. I mean, at the end, but then again, it could be Sherwood's lack of experience that could help him, because he won't have the kind of preconceptions or the notions that we could go down. He might just throw caution to the wind and get Villa playing nice attacking football. It might happen, but they would have to tighten up at the back. That would be the only thing.
That is a possibility. I agree with you. And one other issue there with the actual Villa thing, I thought Paul Lambert was treated disgracefully. Randy Lerner came out a few weeks ago and said he was going to stick with him, which personally I would have stuck with him because I think he would have got him out of the problem.
Yeah.
But if I'm reading it right, there's a guy called Tom Cox come in as chief executive, and he was the one that sacked him on a phone call.
That's always. But I mean, I've heard stories of people being sacked by fax, and no, that's just not on. It's just absolutely not on to actually have that. But I don't know. I mean, it's very much an odd one. But I mean, just quickly coming back to the Ramsey one before we go on to our next point. Quickly coming back onto the Chris Ramsey thing, because Big T actually sent us sent us a text about it. I think Chris Ramsey has a very, very good opportunity. Actually has a pretty good opportunity to kind of almost make a name for himself, stepping out of the shadows of being an assistant, and that's where that's where the intrigue kind of comes in on it. I don't know if QPR are necessarily smart in revealing yet. Well, I'd say I don't think Tony Fernandez has been smart in terms of revealing yet. We've got our dream manager, but this guy's here till the end of the season. It's just that kind of thing that's actually quite peculiar to me.
As I'm reading the Tony Fernandez issue, Tony Fernandez came out with a statement with a tweet that when he was in Malaysia, which is a huge big time difference when it was made, and he said he's got this perfect manager for himself. He's given the job to Ramsey until the end of the season. If Queen's Park Rangers do not stay in that division, doesn't matter who they won't get a dream manager. Nobody will touch them with a barge pole, because also they're going to have a huge financial problem if they go down.
Exactly, and we actually spoke about it. We actually spoke about that last summer with the financial fair play issues, which I think the Football League were hoping they wouldn't get promoted, so they could enforce it this season. But I mean, it's I said it is quite an odd one. I mean, Big T, aka Thomas Hewitt, said, well, the race to stay up in the VPL looks real exciting, especially with the new manager Sherwood at Aston Villa and Pulis at West Brom, Pardew at Palace and Ramsey at QPR. Glad to see another black manager get a chance in the VPL. Do believe he has more of a chance than AVFC. It's an interesting one there. I mean, the fact that he's a black manager is almost inconsequential. I just think it's a case of it's a manager is promoting from within and giving him a chance. But I think that Tony Fernandez comment was a bit of an odd one. It's like, right, you're here now, but our dream manager's coming. So whatever you do now basically doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
it's a bit undermining.
I'm betwixt and between on this. You know, I've never gone down the road of a black manager or a white manager. A man is a man is a man is a man as a manager.
Of course.
If you know what I mean. Like,
of course. And we discussed this last October in terms of the potential of a Rooney Rule when we had when we had John Sitton and Vernon Grant in studio with us.
Yes,
we discussed that at length.
Yes, I believe this guy Ramsey. Now I've heard very good reports on him. He may do a super job. He may keep them up. I just have a feeling that Queen's Park Rangers are doomed, and I think Harry knew that. That's why he got out. And also, I think Villa are going to be doomed now with Sherwood. I just cannot see either of them doing anything to save the clubs.
It's an odd one.
It's a jury's out one, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, Kieran Riley, did you want to jump in on these managerial appointments? Because then we got another point to move on to.
I'm thinking with Villa's new appointment, if no one else wants the job there, because how rubbish Villa are doing this season, who else would take it than him? But I doubt he's going to get them out of the bottom table. To be honest, they're not scoring. The morale is low. They need to get the team together solid, and then try and get them to score as many as possible. But who knows? To be honest, I don't think they're staying up. It's Championship football for next season for Villa, I'm thinking.
But see, that's I totally get that point. And at the end of the day, if you want to be getting the team together and rallying the troops, it's got to be an experienced man to do it. So that's why the Tim Sherwood appointment is a bit of an odd one. I mean, Jamie Bailey, quickly before we move on, did you want to have a quick point about these managerial appointments?
No, it's all right. I probably would have had more to say, but I'll leave it now. All
right. Well, let's shift on to the next point that we've got. It's been somewhat of the elephant in the room, but Premier League TV rights. Sky and BT paid £5.1 billion for live games. This came out on February 10th. 2015. Sky and BT Sport have paid a record £5.136 billion for Premier League TV rights for 3 seasons starting from 2016-2017. The figure represents a 70% increase on the Sky and BT current £3 billion deal. It is unclear whether the increase will affect ticket prices, although Sky pundits and former England internationals Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville said prices should be cut. The Premier League said £56 million a year has been earmarked for grassroots projects, including 50 artificial pitches. I'm going to come back to that point. Under the new contract, 168 games will be shown live at an average cost to the broadcasters of £10.2 million per match. Now, the rise of the Premier League TV income, 92 to 97, it was 191 million. 97 to 2001, it jumped quite significantly to 670 million. It almost doubled from 2001 to 2004 and became 1.2 billion. It was 1.024 billion in 2004 to 2007, but 2007 to 2010 it jumped up a little bit to 1.706 billion. 2010 to 2013 it jumped to 1.773 billion. And from 2013 to 2016, it jumped up to 3.018 billion. And now with this deal, it from 2016 to 2019, it's jumped to 5.136 billion pounds. Now Sky paid 4.176 billion pounds, 126 matches per season, including the first ever Friday evening games and both Sunday packages. BT Sport paid 960 million pounds for 42 games, 4 more than its present deal. The Friday evening games we spoke about 2 weeks ago in regards to it was even more than 2 weeks ago actually, in terms of about the Football League and that, but we'll come back to that. The BBC's price of football survey, which we went through last summer, showed that the average price of the cheapest tickets in England has risen at almost twice the rate of the cost of living since 2011. Gary Neville, co-owner of Evo Stick League side Salford City, added, "I want sensible ticket pricing and grassroots football to benefit as much as possible from this deal. Who doesn't? This is a big issue." Former Liverpool defender Jamie Carragher said the amounts involved in ticket pricing, especially for away fans, has to change. Premier League chief executive Richard Scudamore told BBC Sport, "Clubs understand that the number one strategic priority is to keep the stadiums full. They also need to understand that young fans must be encouraged to attend games. The clubs will do the right thing." Coming back to that one in a bit as well, our record stands for itself. Ever since the time when we invested a percentage of our income into grassroots football and the Football Foundation, that whole activity area has grown. We will this year give away 250 million. It will be over 800 million over the course of this deal. Now, as I said, the TV deal breakdown would be BT Sport, starting with BT Sport, 36 matches on Saturday, including 28 at 5:30, 6 midweek evening matches. Sky Sports, 28 Saturday games at 12:30 p.m, 28 Sunday games from 1:30 to 2:15 p.m, and 28 from 1600 to 16:30 on Sunday, and 28 on Monday, no less than 18, or Friday, no more than 10, 8 on bank holiday, and 6 on Sunday. Now, I said, what does the deal mean for clubs and fans? Now, how could there's a lot into it, but basically, how can 10.2 million pounds per game be good value for money? Well, Sky and BT Sport believe it is. So there's that one. But what does it mean for viewers? That's where we wanted to kind of go on to. If the Premier League clubs, players, agents, and sports car dealers are the big winners from the auction, the one potential loser is the viewer. These huge sums of money must be covered, and over the course of the next 2 or 3 years, it will be a surprise if the price of TV packages does not rise to cover some of these costs. The audiences on Sky and BT are huge. Around 1.6 million watched the North London derby between Tottenham and Arsenal on BT Sport last Saturday, with almost 2 million tuning in for the Merseyside derby on Monday. The money this generates for these companies cannot be underestimated. But one of the big questions that we've asked before and that we want to ask again: will the money roll down to grassroots in the Football League? It is what is known as the prune juice effect. Lord Alan Sugar said it goes in one end and out the other. The more money that is given to clubs, the more money will end up being spent on players. The Premier League was very quick to say it will invest 168 million in facilities and good causes and build 152 artificial all-weather 3G pitches. It will also point to the huge tax revenue from players' wages and argue that more than a sixth of its overall income is distributed beyond the 20 clubs. All of those contributions should be seen against the backdrop of the Premier League clubs paying agents £115 million between October 2013 and September 2014, but the reality for the Football League clubs and below is that only around 5% of the Premier League's income filters down to grassroots. Now, this is not only affecting grassroots, this could potentially lead to a Bundesliga revolution, because from the 13th of February 2015, in the battle for TV rights, Bundesliga bosses say German football will have to look at new kickoff times in order to compete with the English Premier League at the risk of alienating fans. The Premier League's new multi-billion-pound television rights deal is causing concern in German football that the Bundesliga's leading teams will no longer be able to compete against their English rivals. Bundesliga chief Christian Seifert says the league may now have to consider unplayable popular options if it is to improve marketing opportunities. This could include changing kickoff times and spreading the weekend league program to cover a Monday kickoff. Bayer Leverkusen's sports chief Rudi Voller is just one club manager who believes a change in fixture times could help attract more television income. I could imagine that Monday evening is a possibility, he was quoted as saying in Friday's Bild newspaper. The time is attractive and will be good for TV, but in principle, Saturday should be our main match day. Now, also, where are we going? Amateur clubs. So I'm going to come back a little. So far, German football, which has much cheaper ticket prices than the Premier League and has the world's highest match attendances, has been against staggering the fixture program. 6 of the top flight matches are played on a Saturday, with 5 starting at the traditional 3:30 p.m. kickoff time and 1 played at 6:30 p.m. And 1 is Friday evening. Amateur clubs backed by the German Football Federation, the DFB, had originally opposed the Sunday afternoon kickoff, which was introduced from the 2009-2010 season. There should be no more taboo issues, Wolfsburg general manager Klaus Allofs said. Until now, we have always managed to balance in act of fulfilling the wishes of TV but keeping the match program intact, but there should also be compromised. Borussia Mönchengladbach sport director Max Ebel said the league would have to consider breaking with tradition in order to stay competitive. You know what? Yeah. It is one of them ones where. What's it? Another interesting quote from Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, who said it is money that scores goals, and one has to fear that from 2016 the English will score even more goals. This of course will have an effect on the transfer market. Take the move by Angel Di Maria for 75 million euros from Real Madrid to Manchester United. Those sort of transfers in future will be the norm. So you know what, it is one of those where it's one of those. Ian Wright has come up with something quite interesting actually in terms of a quote of his. £5 billion spent on Premier League rights, and I bet in a year's time we'll still be talking about the lack of funding in grassroots. And Richard Scudamore has actually come out and said, oh yeah, the Premier League is not a charity, which is a very, very weird comment to come out with. But obviously we find grassroots, we hold up grassroots football is very important to us, not only on the live shows but in terms of what we do with Pitch Talk Meets. Look at who we've interviewed. Just look at who we've interviewed, from Samir Sawney to Manisha Taylor to Girls on the Ball to Alexandra Park's chairman Dave McLaughlin, to Andy Copeland, who is involved with the Southern Amateur League, to Rob Lusher, who was the former chairman of amateur league club Ibis FC, who I happen to play for. Now, this £5.1 million deal, some of the amounts that is being said will kind of trickle down is just hilarious. I mean, 56 million a year has been earmarked for grassroots projects. Is that it? When each match is basically costing these two broadcasters £10.2 million, £56 million a year. That's basically the cost of what they paid for 5 Premier League matches. Just to put that in some perspective, that is how messed up this is. And Scudamore, him coming out and saying, oh yeah, the Premier League's not a charity, is actually a disgraceful comment if you think about it. But I mean, £5.1 billion, and I think Ian Wright is spot on. In a few years' time, once again, we're going to be talking about, has grassroots benefited from this? And no is the answer. I think it's going to end up becoming an eventuality. And I mean, it is one of them ones where it is just absolutely crazy, because of course the Football League, that chasm, like what Sean Dyche was saying earlier in the season, that chasm is just going to get wider and wider between the Football League and the Premier League, and then that chasm from the Premier League down to grassroots is going to get even more wide. And at the end of the day, the Premier League is about greed. It is legitimately about greed, and the buck stops with the Premier League. And the Premier League is not the be all and end all of football. And I've said that to many people. Like with the Friday night football that Sky are going to get off this deal. What we debated it a couple of weeks ago. What about the Football League, who are on Fridays now? They're going to get bumped to another day, and they're going to struggle even more for coverage. So, I said these kind of deals, and I don't think it's even hit a ceiling yet. But at some point, the bubble has to burst. At some point, but I don't know when that point is. But you can't be. It's basically strip mining the bottom, because whilst clubs are folding at grassroots level, and us at Ibis know that especially. We've seen old Latimarians. We've heard things about Crouching Vampire struggling a little as well. I mean, it's among other sides struggling. I mean, old Salesians nearly lost their pitch last year. So because the local council wanted to build houses on it, something like that. And it's a case of you got the Save Grassroots petition. Now you got idiots looking to sign a petition to get deadline day made a national holiday, but won't sign the Save Grassroots petition. I mean that's a different issue. That's kind of a fans issue. But at the same time, I said, I think a lot of people need to wake up and realise that the Premier League is not the be-all and end-all of football. And if the bottom falls out, then it's only a matter of time before the top does. Because firstly, where are you going to get your talent from? Where are they going to cut their teeth if they're not getting chances in the bigger teams? And also it's a case of the top is not completely self-sustaining. And if the fans start voting with their feet, all right, fine. You've still got the marketing opportunities in terms of sponsorship and that, but if enough fans start walking away and protesting stuff, such as high ticket prices, and start boycotting matches, start boycotting season tickets, then where are you making up that shortfall? And then you end up burning bridges and also becoming less appealing to sponsors. But as I said, I think it's a disgrace. Only 5%. Of the current deal now is going to grassroots, and that's going to be even less. £5.1 billion, and you're only giving 56. And the Premier League said 56 million a year had been earmarked for grassroots projects. So that money hasn't been given. That money's been earmarked. So grassroots may only get 20 million of it, or 1 million, or you might get entities like Sport England cutting money again. I mean, £10.2 million per match is just astronomical to think about. It really is. It really is. I mean, you got fans getting fleeced on ticket prices, and you got grassroots football which is struggling, and we're seeing this kind of thing. As I said, the Premier League is all about greed, and now it's starting to have that knock-on effect where the Bundesliga, the powers that be there, are starting to be concerned that not even just that they're getting left behind, but that football's getting left behind, because they help grassroots. They partner with amateur league teams and help semi-pro teams out. So it's a case of, if they have to stop doing that to compete, then even more teams get the short end of the stick. I don't agree with it. Jesse, what do you reckon on this one?
It's a bit of a quagmire, to be honest, and I don't mean giggity goo either. I mean, well, we look at the amount of money that's gone into it, right? We're talking about 5 billion, yeah? And I'll say this, it just goes to show, and we talk about it all the time, football is now a business, right? And I know you like to throw in the tagline of a badly run business nonetheless, but let's actually look at it. What this is similar to, for me personally, as a professional wrestling fan, was when Vince McMahon came out and said, no, we're not talking about professional wrestling, we're talking about sports entertainment.
Yeah, he did that.
Right?
He did that
And
to
this
get
is
around paying taxes. Yeah.
Yeah. So, in relation to football, now in terms of how it's presented on TV, it's not presented as a sport for me personally. It's presented as entertainment or sport entertainment, right? So now with all of the cameras and all the glitz and all the glamour attached to it, it's become so much of a bigger thing that the sport itself is almost being lost. Like, here's my thing. I've got no qualms with the fact that a club is particularly willing or ready or able to pay like £90 million or £100 million, so on and so forth, on a single player, right? But when we happen to think that a lot of countries, and this is where, you know, I happen to get a bit social political now, that a lot of countries' gross, you know, national profit as a country doesn't equate to that. That's the part where I happen to think that something is very, very wrong. And now, of course, we're seeing lots and lots of players going for that kind of region of money. You know, we forget the days where 2 or 3 million was a lot of money. You know, we forget the days where 10 million was a lot of money, or 16 million was the British record. You know, and I think it's got a bit ridiculous. Now, here's the other thing. With this 5.1 billion, I have to say, well, what is the Premier League giving back? All right, because here's the thing. My argument is, does the Premier League need all of that money for it to run effectively? No. I mean, was it a great piece of bargaining? I think so. I really do. I think whoever negotiated those deals did a fantastic job, and they deserved their commission because they put a lot of work in it. But having said that, right, I'm saying, well, okay, now you've got all this money. Okay, how about now there's a flat rate on ticket prices? You know, and that cascades down the leagues, because now, do you need as much money to help support the cost of the broadcast and everything else you're going to go and do? No, because it's done more or less as well as it could be done right now. You know, and then we talk about grassroots. Is grassroots getting a substantial investment? So we've got 5.1 billion, and you're going to go and how many million was it?
56 million a year has been earmarked for grassroots projects. So it might not even be teams. It's like including 50 artificial pitches. They don't say that these are going to be affordable artificial pitches. They just say projects and artificial pitches. Those projects could be anything. It could be a project that goes for a week. My gripe with that is this. So 56 million a year, that's all you happen to see fit to support grassroots? Yeah. Are you really trying to tell me that they couldn't double that to 100 million? Double it. I'd expect them to quadruple it at least. Considering, bear in mind, this 5.1 billion pounds is for 3 seasons. The deal is for 3 seasons. So 5.1, that's what? 1.3 something, maybe like 1.35, that sort of ballpark per season. It's a 3-season deal, and these amounts are just mind-boggling. I think it's a disgrace, to be honest. I mean, you know they're not going to cut ticket prices. We know that's not going to happen, because if they'd have done it, the clubs have done it already. I love that. And again, Richard Scudamore, there's been a lot of throwaway comments, especially the one about, Premier League clubs will do the right thing. When have they done the right thing in regards to ticket prices before? What makes you think Premier League clubs are gonna voluntarily reduce their ticket prices? Because they're all trying to compete with each other, and football's an unscrupulous game. So they're going to do whatever they can to compete with each other, whether it be raising ticket prices or on the pitch, in the case of Wayne Rooney, diving. You see how unscrupulous a game football is. It's one of them ones. So what makes Richard Scudamore think that football clubs are going to do the right thing and start slashing their ticket prices? Because they're not. We know they're not. It would take an idiot not to realise that they're not going to. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, Birmingham City's initiative that they came up with recently, that we mentioned on a recent show about them helping grassroots football, is fantastic. I wish every club would do it. I wish every club would put some of their gate receipts, would give some of their gate receipts to help grassroots football. I wish every club would do that like Birmingham City have, but most clubs don't, and most clubs won't. Is the key thing as well. Most of them won't. And that, I mean, without going to CWO, Cynic's World Order on it, football at some point may not have that bright a future unless you're at the very top. Because as Samir Sawney said on his Pitch Talk Meets, the pyramid's upside down. Always, and it will continue to be that way. It will continue to be that way. But Missy, you wanted to jump in on this as well.
Yeah, if I could go right back to the very start of the Premier League starting up and Sky getting involved with it. The League of Ireland football here, our top league in the country, always kicked off at 3:15 on a Sunday. And basically what happened was, when they sat down with all the nations, the four nations, the home nations, to decide how they were going to bring this Premier League in for the 4 o'clock matches on a Sunday, our league here was a big issue to them, because our FAI kicked up and said, no, if you start showing matches live on television, it's going to affect Gates here. Now, Gates weren't great at the time. So what did Sky do? Sky came in and said, right, fair enough, we want our 4 o'clock slot on a Sunday. We're prepared to pay you to allow us to have that slot. And what happened was, a lot of our League of Ireland grounds hadn't got floodlights. So what they did was, the Sky money was put in to put floodlights in grounds so we could switch our matches to Friday nights. That's why our League of Ireland ended up then and basically become, once the Premier League started, the League of Ireland went to Friday night football, and to be honest with you, under floodlights it was fantastic. But if you look at the whole scenario thing with Sky, you know, ticket prices are going to go up. They ain't going to come down. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. TV subscriptions, the likes of anybody, ourselves watching it, wherever we watch it, we're going to have to pay for that. I read a story which I thought was amazing during the week. Thierry Henry is working for Sky at the moment, and he's actually getting more money working for Sky than Celtic will if they win the league in Scotland this year. Now, there is something wrong there.
Yeah, a lot is wrong. A lot is rotten in Denmark with that one.
Absolutely. And if you think that the Premier League are anyway interested in grassroots football, which I know you guys are big time into because you play and you're in the local scene. I know all about this because I hear you talking, and I know you're passionate about it. But if you think for 1 minute that the Premier League clubs have any interest in junior football or local level football, you are kidding yourself. They've no interest. They're not. They're only going to show token interest.
Of course, and that's what concerns me about this deal, because at the end of the day, this £5.1 billion deal is, in term, and I'll paraphrase Jim Cornette. It's good for their, in terms of the Premier League. This deal is good for their business, not the business.
Absolutely, it's the elite making more money, where the lower are not. It's like you were saying about Birmingham. Like, there are teams in the Championship who are actually struggling to make ends meet. Now, they cannot afford to put any spare money around great grassroots football. It's very rare that it happens.
Yeah, which is why we felt it important enough to promote what Birmingham City are doing.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. And every little niche that you hear that can be promoted, 100% promoted, but it isn't very much that you would hear around the place.
And for me, that's the sad thing.
Yeah, and like you look at these matches. I've often passed comment to the wife. You look at these matches on the Saturday, and she has agreed with me on this, Saturday or Sunday. A lot of the guys in attendance are middle-aged men. It's very rarely now you're seeing the kids. Now, this is where I see it affecting the football. It's very rarely you see a load of kids. You might see one or two, spotted in the crowd. A lot of it's middle-aged men now. If you don't watch grassroots football, you ain't going to get the kids into the ground.
Definitely. I mean, it's one of them ones. I mean, think of it though. Let's put again. Once again, I might have to paraphrase Jim Cornette, but I'm gonna have to be careful because of the swearing rule that we have here. But it's one of them was Jim Cornette was and as a wrestling fan, Jazzy Fizz will know about this as well. Cornette talked in relation to Ring of Honor in terms of when they were setting their ticket prices and they were going to I think it was Charleston, West Virginia. So not a rich area. It's one of them ones where we say, first row $50, second row $40, third row $20, and concessions for like $15 or something like that. And it's like, imagine you're on the front row. And Cornet's like, imagine you're on the front row, paying $50. So imagine there's like 3 of you. So there's you, your wife. Actually, let's say 4. You, your wife, 2 kids. Even if the kids are half price, that's 25 quid each. And then the 2 adults, that's 100 quid. So that's basically 150 quid. Plus, obviously, if you're buying food in the ground, you're getting charged a premium for that. You're getting charged 455 quid for a beer, a hot dog. Like, you want to get a couple hot dogs for the kids. You want to get a beer for yourself, maybe a glass of wine for the wife or something like that. That will easily cost you potentially another 20 to 30 quid. So that's nearly 180 quid. Right, if you're struggling to make ends meet and you've only got, say, 300 quid to spend for the month, that's half of it gone in an afternoon. That's half of your disposable income for the month gone. And then you factor in rent, bills, all that kind of thing. It's done.
And the actual original outlay here you're going for your sport entertainment is going to money to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I remember go back about 8 years ago. I was in Holland. We were on a European match in Holland, and we were brought to the Ajax Stadium on a tour. We were in Harniman, on our way home. They asked where we'd like to go. We said we'd like to go to the Amsterdam Marina. They brought us in on a tour, and the guy from Ajax was telling me that for the Champions League at the time, there was 3 matches they were in at home for the Champions League, and the 3 tickets for the home matches cost €75 for the lot.
It's not bad.
That's the way they had it priced. It was €25 for each match. And we were astonished with this because in our eyes, Ajax were one of the biggest clubs in Europe, in name everywhere. And he said, no, if they charge 25 quid a ticket, they'll fill the ground.
Exactly.
If they go any kind of mental price on it, the Dutch fan tends to stay away.
Exactly, and that's exactly the point that Jim Cornette actually in his Breaking Kayfabe, he actually was talking in terms of Ring of Honor about. It's like, bro, what you do? He said he was actually like, what you doing with them $50 ticket prices, mate? It's cheaper to get into SmackDown than it is to get into the ballroom in Charleston, West Virginia for a Ring of Honor show, mate. If you do this 25. If you do this ticket pricing like 20, 15, and the rest and general admission for £10, you'll pack the building get like 1,000 people in. But then you do them high prices, you're only getting 300.
Yeah, again, I can bring all this right up to date we've moved on to ticket prices rather than television stuff here. But what I can do, it ties it with the FAI here, right? The FAI here were charging ridiculous money for international matches. Now Ireland has been through austerity. We've had huge problems financially over here. Yeah. People stopped going. But they were charging £60 or £70 for a ticket. People stopped going. Seats were empty. So what did they decide to do? They said, right, let's drop the prices to €20. But people remember, and they still won't go.
Yeah.
You're picking and choosing your matches now when you go to see the Republic of Ireland play at home. Obviously, we're playing England in June. It'll be a full house. It'll probably be the first full house the Aviva Stadium is seeing, and it's down to ticket pricing.
But see, that's it. But see, that's the thing that's not being thought of in terms of Premier League, because, like we've said, those ticket prices on a general basis are not going to come down, and we know they're not. We know they're legitimately not going to come down, even though there's so much money sloshing about. And the worst thing is, this is just between 20 teams. This is keeping a 20-team cluster as a cluster, and that ship is slowly sailing away from everyone else on the island of the Football League and below.
You could possibly say it's a club of say 26 to 27, because there are a few teams in the Championship are bouncing up and down if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
but I do see exactly where you're going. These 27 are heading off into the sunset with their money, and what's left behind is going to struggle.
Yeah. And the thing is, if you want a conveyor belt, if you want coming back to kind of more of a physical thing, if you want a conveyor belt of talent, you can't destroy the base of the pyramid. You can't destroy or not help grassroots football. Otherwise, where are you going to procure your talent from? Where are they going to cut their teeth?
But see, the thing that this is another step in this issue. The grassroots talent that they're bringing in now to clubs, a lot of it is coming in from the likes of Europe, Africa, America. You know, the wider world is becoming very small now to these clubs, and they're bringing in an awful lot of players. Like, you look at Arsenal. You know, you look at the Arsenal setup. I think last season they did a team on the pitch that wasn't one Englishman on it.
Yeah.
You know, this little thing about, you know, grassroots football providing players for Premier League clubs isn't really happening anymore. Because they're spreading their net really wide to get the European guys and everyone else in the world involved. You know.
But then the national teams of the home nations suffer because those kids who might have gotten the break 10, 15 years ago just ain't getting it now. It's just not happening, and they're not being given the chance to develop.
This is another day's work. You know, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. And in actual fact, I am of an age where I've watched England from a long way back now, and I actually think that this crop of players is probably one of the worst crop of players that England have ever had, but they've nobody else.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah,
and I see a story, Roy Hodgson saying this team is going to peak in the year 2022. Please, we've had the golden generation before. It's not going to happen.
And that golden generation won bugger all anyway.
They won nothing. And now this one won't win anything either. You know, it's just as I agree what you're saying. There's no young English talent coming through because it's not coming through from the grassroots. And the whole idea is that the Premier League are going to pour money into the grassroots. I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I said it's concerning. It really.
I tell you what it is. It's sad. You know, it's very particularly to the likes of the guys like yourself who are at the grassroots level. You know, you're looking up rather than looking down.
I mean, it's. I said. The grassroots. It's. You know, we're sticking with the grassroots segment. Actually, tributes have been paid to grassroots football legend Jim Blower, a legend in the world of grassroots football who devoted his life to promoting the game, has died at the age of 92. This is from February of 2015. And we'd also big thank you to Kieran Riley for bringing this to our attention, because it ties directly into what we've been talking about. Jim Blower of Egerton Road, Bushbury, was a central figure in the amateur game in the West Midlands, having first laced up his boots as a player for Stratton Street YC in the late 1930s. His involvement in the game would go on to span an astonishing 8 decades. He was a long-standing member of the Wolverhampton and District Football Combination League, eventually becoming president. He also presided over the Birmingham County Football Association for a 2-year term of office from 2008. Known as a quiet man whose devotion to football was only matched by his love for family, Mr. Blower lived and breathed the game. After news of his death was known on Saturday, all Wolverhampton and District Football Combination League matches held a 1-minute silence before kick-off as a mark of respect. After leaving Stratton Street in the 1940s, Mr. Blower joined Oxley FC, then one of Wolverhampton's top amateur sides. He went on to manage the team during a golden era for the club in the 1960s. It was during this period that he managed to secure the services of talented wing half Stan Crowther, who'd won the FA Cup with Aston Villa in 1957 before signing for Manchester United in the wake of the Munich air disaster. Later in his life, Mr. Blower also had spells as manager of Northcote Old Boys and Wolverhampton Amateur League Interleague team. In 2008, he told the Express and Star of his delight after the historic Wolverhampton and District Alliance Football League Championship Cup was restored back to its old glory after being found in a woman's attic. Mr. Blower's son, Alan, who's 57, of St. Michael's Lane in Penkridge, said he fondly remembered the many times he drove his dad to watch local football games. He was absolutely passionate about amateur football, whether it was men's or women's game, he would be there, he said. My dad was a very loyal man and worked hard throughout his life to make his family happy. Now, a major part of the reason for mentioning that is because
as you said, Missy, as you said, Dave Meier, it's a case of, in terms of people living and breathing and loving the grassroots game. You've got Jim Blower here, who lived and breathed for the grassroots game, and I know a lot of people who live and breathe for the grassroots game, from guys at Ibis FC to the Southern Amateur League itself to Alexandra Park FC to many other sides, who live, breathe, sweat and toil for the grassroots game. And it's one of them. For me, it's just sad to see the callous attitude of guys like Richard Scudamore sitting on the top of Mount Olympus saying, oh yeah, we'll give them 56 million, that's enough. Oh yeah, we'll do this, we'll do that. It's like, the Premier League's not a charity, it's a business at the end of the day. And it's like, callous comments like that really annoy me. And it's just, most of it's the way those comments are just thrown about so nonchalantly. And especially with Scudamore saying, oh yeah, the Premier League clubs will do the right thing. Bro, you're in charge of the Premier League. You need to make sure those clubs do the right thing. Not come out and say, oh yeah, the clubs will do the right thing. Because there ain't no past precedent for clubs doing the right thing. But I said a big thank you to Kieran Riley for actually bringing the tributes to Jim Blower of Egerton Road, Bushbury, and bringing the tributes to him to our attention as well, because I mean, Kieran, did you want to jump in and actually say something about it? Kieran,
I only saw this post because it's my mate's family member. I think it's her great granddad. She shared it on Facebook earlier. I was reading through it and I thought, as soon as it mentioned grassroots, I was thinking, oh, Liam might want to read this. And to be honest, I've read up on some of this. He was a fantastic legend towards the grassroots segment. He did dedicate his entire life to it, and respect goes out to him at the moment.
We echo those sentiments here. Myself, the G-Man, Jazzy Fizzle, definitely, and Pitch Talk as an entity do definitely echo those sentiments. A big rest in peace. A big rest in peace there. I mean, in terms of bloody journalism, and in terms of journalism as well, it must be said. I mean, we are kind of in that field, but I wanted to give a big tribute and a big shout out actually to Mr. Gordon Ayres, who Kirsten Ayres, who a couple of us know, and tweeted back and forth with banter about Man United and all that. Her father recently passed away, and he died on Saturday morning, and he was a reporter's reporter. He had newspapers in his DNA, could spot a story at 1,000 yards and never let go until it was in the paper, usually on page 1 of the Daily Record. The word legend is much overused, but that's exactly what Gordon was. It's one of them. He went to jail rather than break his word. Is on one of the pictures as well, and it's one of them was people who stood up for people who stood up for honor and believe in something should always be held up, rather than the greed of the Premier League being held up and being looked upon as a good thing and as a positive thing. Because as said, I mean, people such as Mr. Gordon Ayres, very respected journalist, people such as Jim Blower, these were people who respected and tried to help the business, not their business, not just their business. It's one of them ones. So as I said, it's just one of them ones. Before we wanted to give a shout out to those two guys. So it's one of them. But you know what? It is one of them ones. And Dave Meier, thank you for joining us. You want to say a quick see you later to the people before we move on?
Yeah, listen, guys, I've got a lot to do here this evening. I'll see you next week, hopefully, and enjoy the week, and hope the football goes well for you.
Hey, you too, man. Take it easy, man.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Great show.
Always a pleasure. Always the
Talk to you
pleasure.
soon.
The pleasure is all ours. You know what? It is one of them ones where it is time to pause that particular track that we are on. It is time for us. Oh my God. It is one of them ones. It is time to move on to.
What's up with that?
Yeah. Well, this is talk. La da da da. Jazzy, you still awake? Where is he? Oh no, he's doing his dramatic pause
I've
gimmick.
gone to bed.
Doing his dramatic pause gimmick again.
No, I've gone to bed.
You know what? I've got a question for you.
What's the question?
My question is football easy?
You what?
Let me explain where I'm going with that. Gary Lineker joins masses in mocking Robbie Savage over comment. Robbie Savage was commentating for the BBC, and he said something everyone immediately picked up on. This is from 15th of February 2015. Gary Lineker was quick to mock fellow BBC man Robbie Savage after the former midfielder made an unwise comment during their live coverage of Aston Villa v Leicester City. Savage's commentary was picked up on by many, including Lineker, who was the BBC's anchor in studio for the fifth round tie. As a result of the frustration at the way both teams were failing to keep the ball, Savage insisted that football's easy in his commentary, perhaps attempting to encourage simple play. Lineker was quick to tweet his disdain for the comment, presumably from the studio, as the Welshman's own shortcomings on the football pitch were highlighted. Now, Gary Lineker actually said, "Football's easy," says Robbie Savage. Hey, I saw you play, mate. Is it really? But there were more. There were a couple of more funny tweets. JR at JRHZ24 said, "If Robbie Savage found football so easy, it makes you wonder why his Derby team only managed to pick up about 11 points that year." Oh God, he was actually captain of that team who had the lowest points total in Premier League history, 11 points. At Brian Bilston, at Brian_Bilston said, "A short poem about Robbie Savage. I would rather eat soggy cabbage than listen to Robbie Savage." I like that as a poem. It was a good scripted ad-lib. I love that. Jazzy, your thoughts on this?
Well, it's easy, isn't it? I mean, it's just like, making an intelligent comment on football. It's easy. And that's why everybody does it. But yeah, no, I think, sometimes the way that you happen to lead yourself down a garden path towards, wherever it is that you want to go to in terms of whatever ad-lib or joke you want to happen to drop in or crowbar in, right? That's what he's done for himself. He's left himself open to that. And, he's just got to accept it. That now every time when he comes on, whether it's match of the day or he's covering the game live, he's probably going to get chants of, "It's easy, easy, easy." Just to remind him.
It'd be one levels, man. I mean, it's terrible. How Robbie Savage can say football is easy and he was mediocre at best. That's just hilarious. If someone like Thierry Henry had said it would have been fine.
I think what he was trying to say, and he probably got himself a bit kerfuddled, right, was that the game of football itself, when you really look at it, is very, very simple. It's a simple game, right? So if he had said that, I think that would have been probably more apropos. But him saying it's easy, for me,
well, it's easy. You make it look so easy. Some people make football look easy.
No, they do.
Speaking of that,
yeah.
Speaking of that, actually, it's a nice little segue. Some people make football look easy, including Cristiano Ronaldo, because university to offer Cristiano Ronaldo-based degree course. Want to learn more about Cristiano Ronaldo? Take a degree in him then. This is actually from the 6th of February 2015, but we didn't have time for it last week. Cristiano Ronaldo is set to become the focal point of a 4-year degree at a Canadian university. The degree, according to reports, the degree will not specifically focus on Ronaldo's exquisite talent as a footballer, but on his cultural relevance. Sociology degree is to become available at the University of British Columbia, Okanagan, and Professor Luis Aguiar had the following to say in a recent interview. Ronaldo is the centre and every discussion. Class meeting revolves around Ronaldo initially, and then we broaden out to larger themes. So it starts with Ronaldo, but Ronaldo is almost like a springboard to talk about larger issues that are much more sociologically significant than just a biography of Ronaldo. I don't know if Ronaldo knows about the cause. I haven't heard from Ronaldo. I haven't heard from his entourage. I would love to hear from either one, and I would love to have Ronaldo maybe Skyping into class. We'd love to have Ronaldo Skyping into Pitch Talk right now, if he's listening. This latest development in brand Ronaldo will add to his growing commercial empire, and the Portuguese star didn't even have to orchestrate anything on this occasion. Of course, Ronaldo is not the first prominent sports person to be the subject of tertiary education. In fact, he's not even the first former Man United player to be central to a degree course. Back in 2000, Staffordshire University offered a 12-week module as part of its BA in Sports, Media and Culture that studied the cultural impact of David Beckham. The course was also said to have focused on elements such as his new haircuts and his marriage to Victoria Adams. Sport and football in particular are not the only fields of study that could be described as slightly left of field. The prestigious University of California at Berkeley offered a Simpsons and philosophy course that examined the cartoon through the eyes of philosophers such as Nietzsche and Plato. Now, you know what, yeah? Reading through that story starts off semi-absurd, but then kind of comes into the realistic, a bit more realistic. But a degree course in the social significance of Ronaldo, no. David Beckham I can understand, because no footballer had been that sort of a brand unto themselves before. So from a marketing perspective, Beckham would be interesting. That's where I would see it. And plus he's transcended football as a brand himself. But the Ronaldo thing, no. The Ronaldo thing, no. I don't think so. I don't think so. No, George Best and Pele are not brands. Not like it's just been said in Skype chat by Jamie Bailey. Not in their time like Beckham has been. I mean, Beckham is legitimately a brand unto himself. So I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say George Best and Pele are. I mean, you're not seeing perfumes from each of them, clothing lines from each of them, and all that. But I don't think Cristiano Ronaldo has that much sociological significance. I don't think. So yeah, I don't see that. But as said, Beckham is an interesting one because kind of similar to Hulk Hogan. He almost kind of transcended the game. So it's an interesting one there, but yeah, it's a weird one. And The Simpsons, well, when I was doing sociology in college, we studied The Simpsons as your typical nuclear family. So that's where the sociological kind of impact comes into it. Cristiano Ronaldo, I don't think has that. I don't think he has that sociological significance. So I think it's just an excuse. But Jazzy Fizzle, what do you think? And to the Skypers, if you want to jump in as well, let us know.
No, I think you're right. I don't think that Cristiano Ronaldo has that same transcendental impact. of, for example, David Beckham, and you rightly point out, look, David Beckham is not just a footballer, he's a ambassador for the country. He is an ambassador for FIFA. As an ambassador for football, he's a male model. He is a perfume designer and creator. He has a club, right? And those are all the things that, not to mention, right, we're talking about his potential business venture as a club owner in the MLS.
Well, yeah.
His soccer schools, right, and all of his other charity work that he does. So when you start to throw all of that in, like, yeah, you are dealing with somebody pretty big. I think if you wanted to go and do a course in somebody that has more transcendental properties, I'd probably offer up somebody like Didier Drogba in terms of the work that he does for his foundation.
The Ivory Coast, yeah. I mean him in terms of the Ivory Coast as well, yeah.
And I'm
Didier
not
Drogba's
saying
life
that Cristiano
stories.
Ronaldo doesn't happen to do similar work. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying in terms of the wide-reaching impact of it, right, and how it's held up by a lot of people, I would use those two as alternative examples, right?
Yeah.
And David Beckham, as you say, he just goes so far beyond all of that. It's just a little bit ridiculous, So, for example, he's still very much loved in Spain. In Italy, he's still very loved over there, and he's a Giorgio Armani model. All right, I'm like, this kind of stuff writes itself. If you want to go and look at Didier Drogba as a comparison, he's a big part of Turkish Airways and their advertising campaign at the moment. So that's where you can see that he's gone and transcended a lot of things in Turkey, and he only played in Turkey for a short period of time. So I think that goes to show how much of a social impact he has there. Whereas, can you say the same for Cristiano Ronaldo? No, not really.
No, that's true.
And that's not necessarily Cristiano Ronaldo's fault, because when you look at it, right about now, he's in the prime of his career. Whereas you look at David Beckham now, right? He's been retired for a little bit of time. He was still statesman,
and he's still as significant as he ever was.
Oh, yeah, of course. And then
that started like 10, 12 years ago.
Then Didier Drogba, his career is going towards the twilight now. So, maybe it's one of those things, apart from David Beckham, because let's be honest, he did marry one of the biggest music stars in history. I don't mean that as Victoria Beckham, formerly Victoria Adams, as herself as an individual. I mean her being a part of the Spice Girl. So, if you go and put that together, that was always going to be something that was going to elevate him significantly a lot higher. Whereas for Cristiano Ronaldo, did he happen to marry any famous singers? No. So that didn't particularly help its cause in the battle of the number sevens and Ronaldo and David Beckham. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So in terms of social impact and all the rest of it, yeah, David Beckham kind of wins hands down. And let's not forget, right, his wife, apart from being a famous singer, also a fashion designer. Yeah. She has her own perfumes as well. Okay. Like, he does things that occasionally edit Vogue, So when you go and look at that, it's so huge in terms of the impact. It's ridiculous. And that's just talking about his wife. And then, of course, you want to talk about his kids. There his kids in there. Does Cristiano Ronaldo have, an army of kids that all happen to be child models? No. So, let's just say that David Beckham happens to win in terms of the social, political impact.
No, definitely.
In that now, if there's a popular footballer and, we have to be talking about his haircut, we draw comparisons to him and David Beckham.
No, of course.
Very, very big. Even when I think Cristiano Ronaldo, he did a little bit of modelling before he started to launch his own clothing line, right? again, the major comparison was David Beckham, because he was the one that was getting all of these big contracts beforehand and making his name as a model that used to be a footballer and kind of still does play football and is still relevant to football, but is also very, very relevant in fashion. Whereas if you want to talk about the relevance in fashion, right, here's the thing. David Beckham has been sponsored by Adidas for a very, very long time. I was just walking by JD Sports a couple of weeks ago, right? He's still a major figure,
of course, in the
advertising campaigns. I saw ad. I think it was him, Pharrell, and Rita Ora all in the same Adidas poster.
Yes, I saw that as well in West 12 Centre in Shepherd's Bush.
So Ora is now branching out into acting. I think she's in 50 Shades of Grey, very briefly.
Okay.
But she's a big music star. Pharrell, as you know, very big music star, right? So he's in the same stratosphere as those people, right? But in terms of sport, he's the most recognizable one. The other two, you're kind of like, I didn't know they wear Adidas. See what I mean? So David Beckham and Adidas are now synonymous.
Very much so, and have been since the Predator days in the late 90s, in the mid to late 90s.
So if you want to talk about, as I say, the social impact of David Beckham, you have to talk about that as well.
Of course.
So, and then, of course, the fact that there are teams that happen to wear Adidas kits as well.
Yeah.
It's absolutely huge.
Oh, exactly.
But, neither here nor there in terms of the whole grander discussion. But I think, in terms of a degree, I don't really know. I'd personally offer up Hey Arnold, right, as a degree. No, listen, I'm a big Hey Arnold fan.
So am I. I've got the DVDs, man.
I would throw up Hey Arnold as a potential degree course, and
Arnold in terms of the relationship, relationships growing up between youngsters.
Well, there's that, and how Arnold seems to be, the archetypal conscience
of the group, yeah,
at all points. So, I would quite find that to be quite interesting, in terms of a philosophy course. Yeah, why not look at Hey Arnold through the eyes of several different philosophers? Because I think that would offer a lot as well.
Right, in theory, you could look at Stone Cold Steve Austin in that same way as well. It's because he was looked upon as a working class hero, and the frustrations of certain people in America and people living vicariously through him. There's ways you could go. With it. I picked Stone Cold because he's one of the biggest superstars in that era ever, and a lot of people related to him on a personal level. So,
but in terms of Cristiano Ronaldo, I personally, I think I'll pass.
Yeah, I hear that. But you know what? One thing that we do need to pass on to is the very final segment of the show. We're in the home straight. We are definitely in the home straight. So let's go into
Stuff of the week.
Good evening.
Hey.
It's Monday night. This is Fish Talk. Every Monday night. Happy Valentine's and some happy birthdays to everybody listening on the podcast and also live on YouTube. Yeah. Let's go into the stuff of the week. Stuff of the week, goal of the week. Let's go for that. And in terms of goal of the week, I'm going to go. Goal of the week, I'm going Bobby Zamora. Purely because of the importance of that goal to QPR in that 2-0 win earlier in the week, and the technique on it. So I'm going Bobby Zamora, goal of the week.
Great shout. It was a quality goal.
Who are you going for?
I've got two. Right. First one is James Morrison. Yeah, because that was absolute rocket. And then the second one was John Stead.
Yeah, the man who's gotten a goal in every round. Yeah, that's good. Very good
it.
shout. Very, very good shout. Kieran Riley, goal of the week.
To be honest, Liam, I don't really have one this week.
Alright, that's a surprise. Alright, Tom Wood, have you got goal of the week?
One for Giroud's second against on Sunday.
Fantastic shout. Jamie Bailey, goal of the week.
I haven't seen all the championship goals, but I'm going to go with Josh King's hat-trick against Stoke.
Great shout. Mike Harniman, goal of the week.
Yeah, for me it's Giroud as well, but it's the first goal of the team goal, really.
Okay, nicely done. Russ Vernon, goal of the week.
Honourable mention to Olivier Giroud's second, but for me, it's goal of Preston United against Man United.
Not a bad shout. Kieran Riley, you got one goal of the week?
Yeah, all four we scored against Huddersfield on Tuesday night.
Oh, crap. He went for all four. And then blanket ones. Crop dusting, I think some would call it. No, blanket bombing. That's what, carpet bombing. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know why I'm thinking that. Anyway, Kerbal Random.
You'll get there eventually.
Kerbal Random was track on. Let's go for player of the week. Player of the week. Player of the week, I'm going to go for John Stead. Goal in every round of the FA Cup, keeping that record up and keeping Bradford ticking along nicely as well. So I'm going to go for John Stead as my player of the week. Chezzy, who are you going for?
Oh, it's a toughie. It is, but I'm leaning towards Daniel Sturridge. I am, because you're happening to see his impact since coming back into that Liverpool team, with an honourable mention, right, to his fellow frontman Mario Balotelli.
Yeah, I actually forgot that as my honourable mention. That's a good one.
So yeah, and my thing is, I'm picking Daniel Sturridge for non-footballing reasons. I just happen to like him. I really do. I think he's good people.
Nah, I hear that. Raheem Sterling's big brother. I like it. Alright. Mike Harniman, who are you going for? Player of the week.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to give it to Steamage's 18-year-old Ben Kennedy, scoring 2 goals on his third professional start at the weekend against Hartlepool.
Good shout. By the way, I wanted to give an honourable mention to Frank Lampard as well, after giving his shirt away after the Stoke Man City match to a young star who literally 2 weeks ago passed away because of cancer. So Frank Lampard deserves an honourable mention. Let's go. Tom Wood, who are you going for? Player of the week.
On the pitch, Giroud, and then off the pitch, Bryce Avalonga. Hope he has a speedy recovery after being ruled out for 12 months.
Bloody hell, that is a long time to be ruled out.
It's with his knee. He's got a really serious knee injury as well. He took a shot and his knee just gave way, and now he's up for 12 months. So
yeah,
hopefully he gets a speedy recovery and becomes the same player he was before he got that injury.
I was gonna say, I know that kind of feeling with being out a year with a knee injury. Yeah. Let's go. Also, Jamie Bailey, who are you going for?
I wanted to give it to a Premiership player, but I'm sticking with my good deed. From what I said at the start of the season, and I'm actually going to go with a manager on this occasion. What's his name? Gary Bowyer of Blackburn Rovers, and the Reading manager as well, for pretty much changing the form book in the FA Cup this over the weekend.
I hear that. Russ Vernon, who you going for player of the week?
On the pitch, Alex Moore for scoring a goal after his 20th birthday, but off the pitch, I'm going to give it to Wigan Athletics, Juan Carlos Garcia, and I just like to send him best wishes and a speedy recovery after today. he has been diagnosed with leukemia and has had to echo the sentiments of Reading, who put out earlier today. Everyone at Reading Football Club would like to send best wishes to Wigan's Juan Carlos Garcia, who has been diagnosed with leukemia. He has been receiving hospital treatment, and the club would like to wish him well. Everyone here at Pitch Talk would also like to wish him well. Get well soon, Juan Carlos Garcia.
Good shout. Mike Harniman, you going for that as well? Player of the week?
I've given it already for Ben Kennedy, the young guy from Stevenage, but obviously I'll give that as an honourable mention as well. Yeah.
Okay. Nah, I saw what you were saying in the chat, so I thought I'd ask. Kieran Riley, who you going for? Player of the week?
There's 3: Benny Kafobi, Bakary Sako, and Noah Dicko. Best partnership Wolves have got so far.
Oh my god! I was gonna say, man, it's one of them ones, man. If only Noah Dicko was called Noah Ball, it would have been Ball Sacco as the partnership. Ball Sacco. It would have given me the excuse to use it, but let's go for.
You just had to crowbar that in, didn't you?
Oh, of course. Let's go team of the week. Team of the week. Honourable mention to Bradford, but Liverpool team of the week for me.
No, I hear that. Yeah. Well, I suppose I might as well throw the obligatory honourable mention to Manchester United. But it's got to be. I mean, how do you look further than Bradford?
Yeah.
How do you do it?
Yeah.
They've been awesome, and of course on the continent. Just want to throw it out there. I think that Barcelona were particularly good as well, so we'll mention them as well.
Oh God, I forgot about Suarez's overhead kick as goal away.
That was going to be my other honourable mention, to be honest, because that was a tiny ridiculous.
Yeah, tiny bit, quite a bit. Tom Wood, who you going for? Team of the week.
Bayern Munich for their 8-0 win against Hamburg.
Good shout. I saw Goal.com's picture. Yeah, but was it Bayern chowing down on these hamburgers? They were mocking. Jamie Bailey, team of the week.
I'm going to go with Celta Vigo. What a performance against Atletico Madrid.
No, I hear that. And Simeone was like, yeah, don't blame Torres for it. Blame all of us. Blame Canada. No, I'll get it. Kieran Riley, who are you going for team of the week?
It would be Wolves for Tuesday after our 3 Hammered Huddersfield 4-1, but it's also got to go to Munich as well for their 8-0 victory.
Good shout. Russ Vernon, team of the week.
Honourable mention to my boys Leeds United. But for me, he's going to be a joint one, Liam, with Bradford City and Blackburn Rovers for their wins in the FA Cup and Shocks over the weekend.
Good shouts. Mike Harniman, have you given your team of the week?
No, yeah, I'm going to agree with Russ and say Blackburn, to be honest, with honourable mentions to Bayern Munich, and also an honourable mention to the 5,000 Middlesbrough fans that were down at the Emirates yesterday as well. Great noise from them, and I hope they get into the Premier League.
Great shouts. Let's go flop of the week. Flop of the week, Morgan Amalfitano. That was not at all. Morgan Amalfitano that deserves
-5 stars.
And also he deserves for the way he got himself booked and then sent off straight away. Go on, Levels. Amalfitano. It's too easy, man. Jesse, who are you going for?
Hamburg's defence. Yeah, Hamburg's defence. I mean, okay, I know you're playing against Bayern Munich, but yeah. Them hamburgers were on the skillet, man.
Put that burgers
they were on the skillet, they got served up fresh.
Oh,
the only thing you had to ask for was extra onions, cheese, and whatever other garnishes you want.
Little squirt of mustard.
You know, maybe some ketchup, maybe some brown sauce if you're brown sauce inclined. You know, whatever it is. But yeah, that hamburger defense, man.
If you're brown sauce inclined, what kind of line is that? If you're
not everybody's a fan of brown sauce.
Let's move on because that actually sounds disgusting. Kieran Riley, who you got for flop of the week?
Sorry, Joe, it's got to be Rooney. That is a ridiculous dive. Come on.
There's no need to apologise to me. I don't know why you're apologising. I'm not going to take offence to it. As I say, I personally don't think the intent was there. What was interesting to me was his reaction to immediately turn around and look at the referee to say, are you going to give it or not?
That means the intention was there, so he deserves...
-5 stars!
He does deserve that.
Listen, I already said, was it a penalty? Absolutely not. So you don't have to apologise to me for happening to highlight that one particular incident.
Hey, that Wayne Rooney dive. Jamie Bailey, who you going for? Flop of the week?
I'm actually going to go with 2. Redford City's football pitch, that is a disgrace itself, and how they actually get away with it as a professional club is unbelievable.
Have you not seen Blackpool's then?
Well,
that's the only one worse.
Blackpool haven't been playing in the FA Cup as well as Redford City, so that's my reason. And I'm gonna have to go with this one, but this sounds a bit harsh, but it actually is you guys. Pitch talk. And the reason for it, and I'll give you the reason. I feel that we've, as a Skyper, I pretty much have been silenced for most of the evening. As much as I've been on it all night, I've not really had an opinion to really shout about. So, yeah, that's my reason.
Okay, thank you very much for trying to bury us like Triple H.
I know, I'm not trying to bury you. I'm just letting you know it just felt a bit quiet, and I saw people talking about Lucy and from EastEnders and Emmerdale and everything else but pitch talk.
Thank you very much for airing that and potentially burying us, the new listeners. Appreciate that.
Sorry.
Let's go for Russ Vernon, flop of the week. Who are you going for? Because I'm tempted to change mine to Jamie Bailey right now. Russ, who are you going for flop of the week?
My flop of the week, Liam, is going to go to Millwall manager Ian Holloway for blaming the police for Millwall's defeat to Leeds United, because Millwall go giving 1,000 tickets like most clubs do, like we got given down in their place, and they only sold 234 out of that 1,000, and he's blaming the police for that decision because he had to claim vouchers for the tickets. Well, the game before that, they only took about, I think it was about 100 to the game before that. So if that's the police's fault for that game, whose fault is it for a ticket? It's not the police's fault, it's your fans' fault for not buying the tickets. Shut up all the way, just because you lost.
I hear that. Mike Harniman, flop of the week, who you going for?
I've got a couple. Amafricano of West Brom, Rooney for the dive, and also Ivanovic for what happened in the Chelsea game against Everton as well on Wednesday.
I totally hear that. Tom Wood, who are you going for to round out? Who are you going for? Flop of the week?
Sunderland.
Okay, why is that?
They lost against Bradford, obviously.
No, I hear that.
But it can prove that Bradford are better than Leeds, though.
Oh god, you know what? It is one of them ones. We have been your Monday Night Footballing Fix, and we've enjoyed it. We've, as per usual. It's like we don't enjoy it usually. Like we don't enjoy doing these shows usually, but we always do. Just wanted to give a couple of shout outs just on the social networks to Brad Hicks. He said his opinion on Aston Villa v Leicester City. First half very weak. Second half got a lot better. My man in the match, Kramaric, because he's a Leicester City supporter. And he said, well done to Ireland for beating the West Indies earlier at Mercy. And his opinion on Ivanovic: should have been sent off straight away. There's no reason to do what he did. Remember #PT Live is the hashtag. For what Villa did yesterday and how they performed, they were very lucky in my opinion. Then going down as well. And he's also said, my opinion on TV rights, it's a joke. When our grassroots going to get anywhere with all the money that the PL get? And Premier League don't care and will never care about grassroots as well. And Brad also said, and speaking of grassroots, I went to watch Nuneaton Griff versus my local team at Hinckley _AFC on Saturday. So nice one on that, Brad. Nice one. He said his goal of the week, John Stead, player of the week, Andre Kramaric, team of the week at Hinckley _AFC, and flop of the week, Leicester City. Good stuff. And Mike Harniman would like to give a shout out to Claude of Arsenal Fan TV as well. So good stuff. Hopefully get something going between him and us. But it is one of them ones where we have come to the end of the show, baby. And it is time for us to time for us to shift on. Oh, it's Ty and Claude, also Fan TV. Cool, big shouts to them. But it is about that time for us to vacate the place with AA. So we've got to roll.
Well, it's the big show.
Hi, I'm John Sittenville with Gavin, Liam and Gerald on Pitch Talk.
The football talk show that holds back nothing on opinions.
Hello, I'm Rob Perez, Christian 42.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Matt Hodgson, director of the 4-year plan.
Samira Sawhney, co-founder and co-director of Motivate Sports and Fitness.
And you're listening to Pitch Talk.
The only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk.
You'll never know. You won't see it coming, but I promise you'll know. The big show.
Wait, hold on. It's the Valentine's special. What are we doing? This is Pitch Talk. It's Monday night. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Straight Shooting LJ, the G-Man and Jesse Fizzle proudly bring to you the football talk show that pulls no punches and holds back nothing on opinions. Why? Because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And after that dramatic pause, the pitch is also where we talk.
I just wanted the people to hear the Valentine's theme, man. That's what I'm saying.
Terrible.
It's we the people for the people, yo.
Of course. And hopefully your Valentine's Day sounded a little like this.
Just a little bit.
Ooh, just a little bit. Ooh, a little bit more. Ooh, just a little bit. You know what I'm looking for. Probably shouldn't say that in regards to, probably shouldn't say that in regards to Valentine's Day, but still.
Thanks, Gina G. That's all I'm saying.
www.pitch-talk.com is where you can find out about everything Pitch Talk. That is our official website. Facebook.com/Pitch Talk. Become a fan, become a friend, become a member of the group. Join the footballing revolution we are working so hard to create. MySpace.com/Pitch Talk. Pitchtalk.blogspot.com or .co.uk will get you to the blogs by yours truly, Straight Shooting LJ, the G-Man, Jesse Fizzle, Dave Mayer, aka at Mercy, Russ Vernon, Mike Harniman, Big T, aka Thomas Hewitt, who always throw them T's up for, and many more. Also, youtube.com/Pitch Talk is where you can find us live every single Monday night, whether it be audio, whether it be video as well. It's one of them, that's where you will find us live. Mixlr.com/pitch-talk as well. mixlr.com/pitch-talk is where you can find us live. You can find our podcasts on iTunes, Mixcloud, Podomatic, and Spreaker as well. Also remember, youtube.com/Pitch Talk is where you can find Pitch Talk Meets. Not just Pitch Talk Meets Sahara Remen, which was our first release of 2015, but also Pitch Talk Meets Girls on the Ball, the full interview in chapterized form is up there on YouTube, and we've got more coming, including Pitch Talk meets Dave McLaughlin coming soon. Also, a big shout out to Finn Whiteline Magazine at Tweet Whiteline on Twitter, www.finnwhitelinemagazine.com as well. And Mr. Ian Kerr, who gave us his A-League roundup, the weekly staple of our show as well. It is one of them. We have had one hell of a lot of fun tonight, but also it must be said, Pitch Talk 1 on Skype, Pitch Talk Live on Google Plus, and also on Twitter at Pitch Talk. Tweet with us, follow us, see what we're up to. Remember, also facebook.com/Pitch Talk. Become a fan, become a friend, become a member of the group, join the footballing revolution we're working so hard to create. I have been your Liverpool supporting co-host, Straight Shooting LJA.
Again, I just want to make the people listen to the tune, man. Hey, music's music, though, and it's good music. No, I've been your boy Jesse Fizzle, and a very, very happy Manchester United fan, even though the penalty was dubious at best.
Yeah, questionable. Yeah, it's one of them ones. And we will see all of you next week. Thanks for joining us, peeps.
Good night.
Thank you.